edition of, you know, hearing it from the soldiers from the 502nd Engineer, talking about Bosnia and what really happened. Tonight, we got a couple of special guests that's supposed to be on tonight. They should be popping in here pretty soon. One of them was one of the platoon leaders for one of the platoons, Lieutenant Castillo. So I believe you guys that were there. Oh, speaking of
There
them,
he is.
there he is. Yeah, right on
Yeah,
time. Right on
look, look, looking like a little baby.
How you guys doing?
I know, right?
time. Man, that couldn't have been any more.
You're looking young. Look at him. Looking
Well,
good.
you guys already started talking shit about me?
Nah, we ain't talking about
Hey,
shit.
hey, that's how it goes. Why
Yeah.
change, right?
I'm here for it. I'm here. Give me what you got. I'll take it all.
Hey, you looking brand new, like you just came in the army, man.
You know what? I actually had to grow my
Well,
hair
he
out.
has a little bit of gray. He has a little bit of gray. I can see it. He has a little bit.
I had to do it on
Very
purpose.
little.
I do it on purpose because I used to,
Yeah.
in my job, I used to cut it.
Was that the lighting? Oh,
With, no, it's
is
gray.
that the lighting?
It's gray. No, it's gray.
Nah.
Yeah, it's great. So in my job,
Good seeing you, sir. Good seeing you.
Good to see you too. The past few years, I've had to cut my hair like short, because easy to maintain and stuff. And then people are like, "Man, you're a young buck working and doing what you do," and so I didn't look believable. And so as I move up, I just had to grow my hair out and show that I'm a little bit older, and then people take you more seriously. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I talk to people, and there'd be other people in the meeting. They go talk to the other people because they looked more experienced. So.
Wow, that's crazy. They want you to look older.
Yeah, well, I own my own business, so I need to look older. So I look more, I guess, to look more professional or look more believable. But it's not, it's different in the civilian world where you gotta. It's a lot of show and go, right? As opposed to in the army where your actions and what you do speak for themselves.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
Well, hey,
I talked to Larry Galuski on text, and he can't make it tonight. I actually pinged Dave Campbell and John Arbrish, sent them the link just to see if they might come in. Campbell seemed like he might want to, so hopefully. And then talking to Cubic, he said he'd rather leave it up to the NCOs because that's who runs the business here.
we would love to see him pop in, pop out.
Yeah, we've had some good conversations recently. We talk a few times a year, and we get down to it. I tried to set up a meeting with him and Larry Galuski and Dave Campbell and John Arbrish up in New York or in Missouri, and it sort of fell through the last minute, which is unfortunate. So would have been good.
I talk to Arbrish every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where you at, John? You're up in Missouri, or
I'm in Minnesota.
You're in Minnesota.
Still cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of lucked into this. Oh, I don't know if I'd say luck into living here, but I got out of the army and went through a headhunter, and they, there's like 5 different jobs, and one of them was here in Minnesota. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a couple of years here and then get the hell up out of here because it's too cold in the winter. And, what was it, 2003, 22 years later, I'm still here. So, yeah, now I got a wife and 2 kids. So I'm definitely going to stay here for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So you gained something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Quality of life is pretty good here. I mean, if you can stand the winters and, it's, it gets pretty darn cold here, but the quality of life here is pretty good.
And I heard there's a lot of friendly.
Yeah. Real friendly.
Yeah.
Real friendly state. People are pretty welcoming. They don't get too close to you. It was hard to make really close friends, but people get close, and then if they grew up here, they kind of keep you a little bit at arm's length. But I'm able to find. I was able to find a really close knit group of friends.
That's
So
good.
Oh,
yeah.
you still rocking the Chicago Bears.
Hey, right? It's our year.
All right.
After what 40 years of being bad, got to start being good, right? Like took 108 years for the Cubs.
All right. Yes.
You got to start somewhere.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Dallas can't win every year, right? As much
Oh,
as
man.
as
Oh,
much as you want to. You guys are on. I think you guys are on the decline.
man, we've been on a decline.
Not as bad as the Bears, but
Yeah, that's crazy to even think about.
Man, I live in Texas, so I hear about the Cowboys all year, every year. This is our year. So, and I got to hear from Spelling. Jesus, no, come on, no, no.
he's calmed it down a little bit. I'd say
Oh yeah.
on the Cowboy stuff. I don't hear anything from Wells about the Cowboys. You used to, I mean, you used to get up in the Getty up with your outfits, didn't you? And your
I did. I got tired of getting my heart broke every year.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, that support, you be like, man, rough life. You know what I'm saying?
It's like
trying to be a fan.
Terrible relationship.
Yeah.
You just can't leave her. You just love the hell out of her. You know, you just no matter how much she beats you up.
You still come back for more, right?
Yeah, you keep taking her back.
Yeah.
Kind of like
What's up, Mr. Creek?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, birthday boy.
What's up, man?
Happy
Appreciate
birthday,
that.
brother.
I love that, man. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, don't call me sir, please. Last thing I want to be called. I'm just John.
John.
Yeah. People.
Hey, John, sir.
People.
John, sir, how you doing?
Hey, the damn eclipse that came now.
Look at that guy.
Lucky.
What just happened?
Are you sitting on your lawnmower?
Yes. Some people got to work. Look at you looking all GQ.
Dude just stays country.
Hey, everybody can't be like you.
Oh, you don't want to be me. You don't want to be me.
Hey, it makes so bad, man. You was together like what, a couple years ago at the football game? You brought your son down to Nashville?
Yeah. Man, that's been like 4 years, right?
Yeah, about 4 years ago. That damn time go by fast. But your head ain't got no smaller though.
Time's going by.
You got that camera on Zoom, Dave?
Everybody looking good though.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother.
What, only 7 of us on here?
Well, they heard you were coming, and a lot of them fell off.
See, that wasn't necessary. What's
Well,
up, Creek? Yeah, it's been a long time.
What's up, my brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, living.
I know that's right. You looking good, though, brother.
Yeah, you do look good, man.
I'm trying to get this shit to turn back brown or black or something. Shit ain't working.
Just for men. They make just for men, bro.
Yeah.
At least you can grow it. I
can't. I like my grades. I enjoy my grades, man. I don't want to be.
Somebody telling you that shit looks distinguished. Somebody telling you that shit looks distinguished. They lying. They are lying.
No, I like it. It ain't about, you know. It's like what John was saying, right? You know, you got to look a little bit older depending on what you're doing and who you with, right? And it's mainly just so you don't have to sit there and demand respect and stuff, right? I guess that's how John was trying to put it. Where listen, I'm much older than what I look, my man. So you know, but sometimes And just coming in gray, it helps you put that foot down a little bit heavier. I'm just saying.
I was just gonna say you can tell who the officer is because everyone else is enlisted and got shaving profiles.
That's good.
Y'all need to go shaving profiles, everybody.
Larry, what's up with you? Where you at?
Who?
He said Larry.
Oh, Larry?
What's happening, man?
Hey, trying to catch up with you.
Hey, you out there mowing those acres.
Hey, look, I can't get this side to fill in, man. I need some guidance. Oh, you guys got it going.
Hey, it took a while, but we finally got it going.
Hey, so look, the most important question of the night, Fortune, what are Titans going to do with Cam?
Don't worry about it. We about to get him. About to lock him down.
Well, I know we're going to get him. How's he going to work out for us?
Well, they trying to shore up the line, so hopefully, they get that line shored up. That's number one thing. Then get him another receiver on the other side of Ridley. We should be good after that.
So y'all don't know about Fort. He's up in them suites. You already got your tickets for the new stadium?
Tickets for the new stadium yet? They've been trying to get me to get them, but I've been holding out for right now. I'm gonna see what they bring in there. They got to bring something worth paying for. You know what I'm saying? So
who do you know to get up in those nice seats, 40?
Say again.
Who do you know to get up in those nice seats?
Oh no, I worked my way up from being, kind of ease my way down.
I think that's just a fancy way of saying you sneak in. No, I'm just kidding. Everything's earned. Everything's earned, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know how to spell bougie until I seen him. What do you got to be to get up there? Everybody said bougie. I said, damn.
But you got to spell it first.
Oh man, it's good to see you, Dave.
Oh man, it is. I like it. So how often we going to do this?
As often as you like us to do it.
I'm in. It don't matter to me as long as somebody tells me when it. I didn't get invited by you fools, so I should be pissed off.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if it was John, I wouldn't be here.
That's true.
Always looking out for you, Dave. Again, after 30 whatever years, I'm still carrying you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a little bit heavier now.
That's why my shoulders hurt.
Shit. Your whole back, you probably got sciatica problems.
Oh man.
Hey, so
Dave, I praise you. Dave, I praise you.
How come 3 of you got them total line flags? I ain't got no damn flag.
Well, you outside.
They special. Dave, I trade you. I trade you some of my sideburns for some of your hair. I'd rather have my hair back than my sideburns.
I was blessed with that. I can't complain about that.
Streak, you used to have a good head of hair, man.
I did, but look, it's gone now.
Yeah, you used to have a little Q-tip, right?
I did. But now the hair line way back here.
It went down like the Saba in the summer.
It did. Look, it faded back. It faded.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's just how life goes, huh?
Hey, it went this way. It came this way. So I can say I still got a little bit of hair. I'm thinking about taking it off here and then get me a toupee right here and fill it in.
Hey, they still sell them?
Hey, they paint them on now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, Larry. They just paint it in, brother. Look, yeah. That's what you got to do. Paint it in.
Yeah. But anyway, hey, John.
It seemed like Oscar de la is received. I get it. Yeah. Show me where you stand. I'll make sure to never.
40, mute 40, man.
I was just grooving to it. It felt like Camp Harmon again.
Hey, John, can you take us to, all right, you was a brand new lieutenant when you came to the company, right?
Yep. Yeah. So I just got out of Ranger School, got there, I think in August. I think the same day I got there, they told me, you got to turn around and go to Graf to start training. And I think you're going to deploy. So I was like, shoot, dropped my bag, loaded up my duffel bag, and went down to Graf. And I didn't know what I was in for, surprise. So I get down to the company. You guys are running operations. And I think it was the first day I get there. I meet, remember Lieutenant Howard, Jen Howard?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're like, you're probably going to be taking her platoon. So I
you see everybody nodding their head.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we remember her.
Yep. And I remember one of the first days, I think I was down there for a day, maybe two. And she was running operations. It was probably like 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon, maybe a little bit later. And I go, hey, we got a meeting. And I just looked at a map. I just pointed at a spot. And I said, we got to meet here. It was all the way across the training area. I said, we got to meet here tomorrow with Captain Fancher and the other officers. And she's like, all right, but I'm pulling an all-night operation. So I go back in my tent because I don't have a platoon yet. I get up in the morning, 8 o'clock. I'm stretching out. She comes rolling in her Humvee, 8 in the morning, and she goes, I worked all night. I drove across this training area to meet up, and there was nobody there. and I go, you got to not take me seriously. Like, you think I'm the newest lieutenant in the company is going to tell you to schedule that I'm scheduling a meeting across the whole training area. So she got pissed at me, but that was my start. That was my start with the company, is just messing with people, So
that was you and Dave doing that shit.
Me, yeah. I don't remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think I mess with anybody, but yeah. So I got to the company. I was like, I don't know anything about bridging. They only teach you whatever it is at the basic course at Leonard Wood. So I get there, and it's all the book stuff, and I see the company, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So to me, coming from Ranger School, right? Like, you see everything standards. Everybody's being all they could be in high speed. And then you come to a company that's just real chill, right? Real chill, and not a lot of oversight from a battalion or a brigade level. And I was like, what am I getting myself into? So I got to the platoon, and they're like, you're taking the platoon. And so I think it was Sergeant Graham was my first platoon sergeant. And we didn't get along. I was thinking about that today. We didn't get along. And, I don't think it's him or it's me. Maybe it's mostly me. But we just, like, he's a book smart. He's a competent guy. He was a competent NCO. Nothing against him, but
he was lying ass.
No, he was competent.
You need to stop right now.
He was competent. He was competent. He knew bridging, right? And
he should have been an officer.
Yeah. He knew bridging, but he didn't. In my estimation, he was just an administrative leader, right? And for me, like, I need somebody that's got some swagger and can lead people, right? Because that's how I want to lead people. And so I'm like, I went to my company commander. I'm like, how do I get rid of him? And they're like, you got to start counseling him. So I started counseling him, and he knew right away. He was like, what are you doing? We're deployed. We were already deployed at the time. And I'm like, either you got to change or we're going to change. Right. So, yeah. So we just didn't see eye to eye, but I'd say Dave was a godsend for me. Right. Even though he was a little,
Hang on, say that again. They didn't hear you.
I said Dave was an a-hole. No, I mean, to have a guy that is just, for the people, new as shit, was talk shit like me. We just got along real well, and I appreciated that. And that was one of the changes that I think, at least my platoon needed was continuity in leadership. Us being, right side knows what left side is doing, left side knows what right side is doing. And just, and you could probably count the number of times he'd be retired 3 times over if he got $1 for every time he said, that's NCO business. You stay in NCO business. And I just said, nope, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, So, but I really tried to lead with soldiers in mind. And I'm not going to say I'm 100% with all the soldiers. There's probably soldiers that, didn't appreciate me or didn't like me, and that's perfectly fine. No one's ever perfect. But I try to do everything for the soldiers and take care of the soldiers. And I might have gone over my head with doing NCO stuff, but I really liked being close to the soldiers and being connected with soldiers. And so as many times as Dave and other NCOs are like, that's end business. You need to go do O business. I just, follow along like a puppy and just see what I can do to help or where I can get into trouble. So, but
hey, so now on behalf of John, I apologize to all you guys that was in first platoon and you didn't get to experience this.
It was rough for a while.
Well, I was John's driver for a little bit there.
Yeah, until they
and I know that I gave him a lot of shit as a new lieutenant.
You gave me a lot. I remember one story, Rod, that sticks up every time I see you. This story comes to my head. We're at the hotel. Remember the hotel down the street from all the tents where we stayed at, the building?
Yeah.
Nice building?
Yeah.
So I'll make this a long story. So when we, after all the Bosnia and the bridge came and we were on rotation, our first rotation, we get to the head shed and they're like, you can get the tents. And I'm like, hell no, I'm not staying in those damn tents in the summer. They're hotter than hell. So they said, well, if you find a place, we'll figure it out. So I walk around, I look in buildings, I walk all the way almost to the end of the, that whole steel yard or whatever it was. And I find a building and they're like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, are all the floors full? And they said, no. So I went to whoever it was and I said, we're staying there, whatever it takes to stay on whatever it was, the 4th floor in the air conditioned room, we're staying there. So I took what was probably 2 squads worth of people, Dave?
About that. Yeah, a little bit more.
2 squads and a little bit more up to the hotel. And all the soldiers were like, we're staying here. I'm like, yeah, it's a bit of a walk, to take showers and go to the mess hall or the dining facility. I'm like, you could do this or we can stay in our tents. And everyone's like, hell no, we're staying here, nice air conditioned room. I think we had bathrooms there too, but not showers. But getting back to the Rod story.
Bullshit right there.
Didn't you guys rotate to that place? I don't know if they kept it after we did, but I don't know. I think they did.
The H building.
The H building. I called it the motel.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
Yep. So I remember it was just one big bay, right? So everyone had cots and we all slept in the same room, basic training style. So everyone was in everyone else's business, but we were all trying to, we all knew each other by then. So we got along pretty well. So I remember everyone's just talking and getting along, and Rod comes up to me with a rotary phone. Rotary phone connected to nothing. He's like, hey, you got a call. It's somebody from, the talk down the thing. So I grabbed the phone, nothing, and everyone's laughing at me. And Rod's just like, I got over him again. You can add another one to the notch of getting over on me. So, yeah, but I think people, I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me if you guys, I don't think anybody messed with me a ton. I think it was a lot of mutual respect there. And I took some of the mess in it, obviously with a grain of salt, because soldiers are soldiers.
Yeah, we ain't worried about none of that shit. We worried about how the fuck you look 18 years old. That's what the hell we're worried about.
You missed the first 5 minutes, Dave.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, I told him the secrets. Now you got to go back to the YouTube next weekend.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's that Asian thing. You know that.
Well, damn.
One
I don't know.
one day I'm gonna wake up all crooked though. That's what happens to Asians.
You hit that 48, it's
So,
over.
John, to your point earlier, right? So, um, how you were talking about how you and Sergeant Graham did not see eye to eye on when it came to how you wanted to lead the platoon, right?
Yeah.
So I've always said that it's not that there's bad leadership, it's just that there's different leadership, right?
Yep.
And it takes that chemistry, right? And if you don't got that chemistry, or if you and whoever is working with you, you guys cannot, make it happen and don't got it, then it doesn't happen. I don't think that's something you can force, right?
Right.
You know, uh, throughout the Deuce, I saw so much of difference of leadership styles, right? I was talking to Creekmore. I mentioned to him that y'all remember Sergeant Major Burns, right?
Roy
Everybody was terrified of this man, but he had his shit together, and I personally liked how he was running stuff. Right? Some people didn't like it. Some people thought he was a little bit over the top. But to this day, I know that he gave us those leadership books, and he'll come and check on you about things like that. Or he wanted you to know for the NCOs, your NCO creed. He had a couple of little catchy phrase words that he would throw out there. But everybody's different, right? Everybody functions different. Sergeant Wells was one of those. What is it? Talk quiet and walk around with a big stick type of NCO, right? He didn't bullshit with you much. It was about, let's get it done. I don't need to tell you 2 or 3 times. Move on, right? And that's okay, right? And there was others that were more jokey or whatever, right? Or more, cool or whatever you want to call them. But that's just different leadership styles, and I think that's something that as we've gotten older, wiser, and with more experience, we have carried that whatever inner leadership we had in us to our next phase.
Oh no, that shit's gone. Every other Thursday's payday. That's all we worry about now.
Oh no, definitely. Well, that's one of the reasons why I got out. I couldn't. I'm gonna be honest with you, Dave. So I could see myself doing 20 years, not with that pay rate, and I got out and I needed to make that money. I had things that I wanted to do. I had places to go. So yeah, believe me, money that tripling, quadrupling that 2-week paycheck, it was important to me, at least to me, right?
Everyone's got goals.
Exactly.
But I tell you what, being a military, you're not in it for the money for sure.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Serve your country, and you really don't realize it until after the fact. And think about the things. We really wasn't making a lot of money, but we sacrificed everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now John was making the big bucks. He was a lieutenant. Yeah. So keep that in mind.
Me and Gary Davis were 01Es, so we got a little extra for being enlisted. So we were our first 5 years.
The damn reserves don't count.
What's that?
I said the reserves don't count.
It counted for pay. You can ask my paycheck. It counted then. That's all that mattered, right? So, yeah, I mean, getting back to Rod's point, it's remember that old be, know, and do from the leadership manual? Know yourself. You got to know yourself and what kind of leader you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And in my conversations with Chris Kubik, he said you and I are different. We're different leaders, and not everyone. The majority of the Army is not going to like us just because of who we are and how we act. Like we were audacious. We didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit back then what people thought. I said if I'm going to get promoted, I'm going to get promoted. If I get locked down, I get locked down. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on my terms, for the most part. I mean, you got to play the game. Camel's going to call me out here, but you got to play the game as an officer. And I mean, to some extent, now you got to play it as an NCO too, right?
Yeah, no, you did a good job at it. You did a good job at it.
Thanks, man.
I would say this. I met Dave, and he was our platoon sergeant at the time. And I would say
stories.
no, I'm not gonna tell the story. I'm not gonna tell the story, but I'm just gonna say this. There's a small difference between arrogance and confidence, and it took that person in our MOS to make it to the next level. And everybody on this call had that it factor to make it to the next level. The hardest thing for me was to turn that off because, like you said, John, you didn't care. I didn't care about nothing but the mission and me and our people
Yeah.
and the next step. So outside of that, when you don't have that, then what do you do? But it's a small little difference between the arrogance and confidence. And I think we were all confident in what we were doing. I wouldn't say we were A type personalities, but we were A type personalities that could be checked and say you can do better.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say. And I learned some of that from Dave as well.
Well, you said some key mission first, especially as an NCO. And I think that Bosnia deployment showed you that nothing matters but the mission. Once we got flooded out and we had to put that bridge in and nothing stopped, we continued the mission regardless of what obstacles we had in front of us. You know what I'm saying? That flood showed me that is always first.
That was the first thing. You're right, 40. I mean, when we loaded up that train, it was me, Spell, Lovett, and a couple other soldiers. I can't remember because I'm getting old, except my hair doesn't look like it. But we got on that train. We got off that rail.
You're talking about that train head, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there.
Yeah, Rod. So it was maybe 5 of us on that train.
Yeah.
And when we got to Slavonsky Broad, I mean, there was nothing, like nobody to greet us, nothing there. And so we just said, we got to do it, right? Mission first. So we started offloading the train. The whole platoon got there, split up the platoon, and half the people were downloading it, half the people were convoying back and forth to the bridge build site, right? And I remember, you guys remember Jimmy Dean Parker, right? He was my driver then.
Oh yeah, I'm still buddies with him.
Yeah, Rod.
Yeah.
Who do I have to punch
in the head right there?
Who do I have to punch in the?
Hey, you know he's in the Navy, right? He's in the Navy. He's still in.
I think he just retired. But
yeah,
they pulled one on me and gave me Jimmy Dean Parker as the driver when we right before we deployed. So it was me running. It was me running convoy, not nonstop. Not seriously, nonstop, back and forth for like the first.
Oh no!
And so I'd see some of my, squad leaders. Hey, how you doing? You fed? Okay, I'm running this down to the bridgehead site. So me and whoever was driving in the convoy, I just go back and forth. And Parker, I mean, that guy was a hard worker. You can say what you want about Jimmy Dean, but that guy
was a workhorse.
He was a workhorse.
Like dirty.
Yeah.
I remember when
Parker.
I remember when we had been doing convoys for a few days straight, and he's like, I'm tired. We're driving, and I'm like, I look over at him, I'm like, Parker, you fall asleep when I tell you to fall asleep. And I'm like, we can't afford to fall asleep. So then when we stopped either at the bridge site or the railhead, I said, Parker, you're sleeping right now until I wake you up. And that was it. Like he and I were just
Hey, Matt, hold up that baby. Let's see that baby. Oh yeah.
Ah, look at her.
How old?
Two. She 2. I just unmuted it. Well, she'll be 2 this year. She'll be 2 this year.
He got the speaker going. Dang, you all fancy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Got to lend some of that hair to Creekmore.
You got.
You said lend some of that hair to Creekmore.
Yeah. So
this the grandbaby. This the grandbaby right here.
Oh, that's your grandbaby. I got a kid that's 2.5.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I got 3 of them. How many of y'all got?
0.
I got 4.
Grandbaby.
0. 0 grandbabies.
0. I got 6.
I got 3 kids. 3 kids. They're all adults. They're all grown, but no grandbabies yet.
For you.
This new generation of of youngsters, they different. They
I
ain't
got
no
6
rush for
grandbabies. I got 6 of them. My
Jesus.
oldest grandbaby
6.
How old?
I got it. My oldest grandbaby 15 in 9th grade.
Oh, that's me. My oldest is
Wow.
15.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
I remember just going back and forth and telling Parker, shut up and drive and go to sleep when I tell you to go to sleep. And I remember when we, maybe it was day 1 or day 2, we had another unit, maybe the 38th sent a platoon a day after us. And they came in, and I remember they had no MREs, no food, nothing. So I had to give them, Rod probably remembers this, we had to give them our MREs.
Yes.
And that's why we ran out, huh?
No. You ran out because y'all left them in your conics in your tent that floated away while everybody else was working.
Oh hell!
We're gonna start.
Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember that real bad accident on the way that we were doing a convoy on the way to the river, and that one Croatian dude got caught in the aft tire of the truck and it swung under the. Well, that was our truck, and
that was Venus.
Yeah,
I can't remember who the.
That was
Venus, right? Venus was driving.
Hungary.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, Venus was driving. I think I was in the front with what's his name with Parker, and I told Parker to pull over, and I ran over there and tried to help this guy, and he was gone, man. By the time I got to that little itty bitty car, and it was folded in half, dude had shot out the window,
That's tough.
And
I actually
so
saved him.
The stuff that I was talking about last week was that, because I couldn't. Yeah, and I had tried to put a lot of that in the back of my mind and not give it any thought, but I was thinking about it real hard a couple of months ago, and that's when I had to call Evans, and I've spoken to Parker, Jimmy Dean, and Evans, and there was the other gentleman, the guy that drove the minis. What was, I can't remember his name to save my life. Skinny dude, glasses, real nice. He was a boat operator. Always took pictures. And he had pictures, and I was like, "Wow." I got him on Facebook. I can't remember his name right now to save my life.
Yeah.
But and these are some of these things that what Fort been talking about, right? That we got to deal with, that shit that nobody prepared us for, stuff that we brought home, and it's the stuff that wakes you up in the middle of the night, right? And we gotta have this platform to deal with it, or at least that's what I would like to do, right? And with your guys' help, talk about it, just let it out, and let it be. It's kind of that therapeutic stuff. I think that a lot of the subjects and stuff that we touched about Bosnia last week was pretty good. It helped me a lot, so I appreciate that, guys.
Hey, did I just
I was telling Creed on the side that.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Rod.
No.
Did I just see Doss trying to get in?
I thought I saw him as well.
Who was it?
Oh, Mitch Doss. Mitch Doss trying to get in.
Oh, okay.
Mitch, that's who it was. Mitch Doss. The guy, yeah, he had all these minis and stuff, and yeah, so I had to talk to these guys just to try to get the shit out, because I always kept it inside. I never talked much about it after it happened.
All right.
And to have other guys remember way more than I could when I was actually there, and and I have to deal with the shit. But it's part of that whole thing, right? And were you a platoon leader, John, when that happened? I don't remember who was a platoon leader.
Yeah, I was.
Happening.
So
I'm going back and forth.
Because I know Graham was the platoon sergeant, Arbus was the section sergeant, and then it was our section working with that crap. But yeah, there was a lot of that driving down and doing a lot of stuff, late nights and a lot of work. Right, get the mission done, whatever it takes.
Yeah,
it is what it is, fellas.
A lot of people don't know.
Go ahead.
John, when we got briefed on that mission, before we went to Bosnia, we supposed to stopped up in Hungary and download everything and then drive down. A lot of people forget that briefing, and to ride that 4 or 5 day with a 4-day train ride and pass all that and go straight to the railhead, like you said, you know, and had to get straight to work right off the rail.
I don't know if you know this story, but we got to Hungary and the border, and we had been sleeping in the train all night. We get up first thing, middle of the morning, we hear gunfire. You remember this, Rod? And we got no ammunition.
It was what was it? December 24th.
We got no ammunition. We're just sitting in our train car.
That was Christmas Eve. That wasn't on the train.
No. Yeah. Christmas Eve.
We were
we sitting there going.
We were down there just
Damn, John,
going,
you are getting old.
We were down there just going, what the hell do we do? We got no ammunition, no communications, so we just sat there. And then all of a sudden we look, Spelling. He's under the seat in his train car.
That's a lie.
No.
Spelling didn't fit under no seat.
I know, right?
He was down on the floor. He was literally down on the floor. I think if he could crawl.
Oh my god!
He must have dropped a wing.
If he could crawl under the seat, he'd be under the seat. But he was on the floor going, "Let me know when it's safe. Let me know when it was safe."
Hey, John, I got a question. So you guys wasn't drinking on your train?
What's that?
You wasn't drinking on your train?
I don't know if anybody else was. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was trying to do the good officer thing.
Hey, John, so I asked this question on Thursday, but you as an officer being close to Cubic, was that gun shit real, or did he hide it and keep us in the That's what I want to know. That's what I thought he was going to be here tonight.
I can't remember what. Keep us from what? I don't remember what he kept.
So remember when we were coming back that we stopped in Hungary and he claimed that somebody had stole this gun? So that's for keeping us from going to the beer tent.
I honestly
last night.
Oh,
that's
really?
what
I don't remember what happened that night. Honestly,
you don't call. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
That was the week.
He ran through the beer tent anyway, so it didn't matter. They told us not to come back.
Oh yeah,
we ran PT through the motherfucking beer tent.
Oh, we got kicked out. Yeah, we got kicked out a couple of times.
I heard that's when Davis went stupid.
I remember that formation run, and we were going towards the dining facility, and me and Davis, we were always talking shit to Cubic, and we both looked at each other and we're like, let's go through the dining hall, and we just started talking shit to Cubic. We said, and it was always, you don't have a hair on your ass if ... And so we kept saying it. You don't have a hair in your ass. You don't go through that dining facility with this formation. And he kept looking back.
All right. Hey,
kept looking back.
Hey, listen. My phone's about to die, so I'm going to have to go. But I got one question, First Platoon. You guys still remember that definition of discipline? Hey, come on, Larry. Let me hear it.
Was it? What was the other one? He had two words. It was discipline and what's the other one? Doing the right thing even if you're not being looked at. Oh God,
that wasn't us.
It
was good to see it, Dave.
All right, hey gentlemen, I appreciate the hell out of this. I enjoy it. Damn, you guys gotta let me know when you do it again.
All right. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah.
Hey, I got that on that invite I got.
Hey, go on, order your hat.
Put Dave on the do not invite list. He tried to torture me. He was torturing me. Put Dave on the do not invite list.
Hey, that wasn't me, man. That was the dog. I had nothing to do with it. Hey, you guys be good, man. Love you guys. I'm out.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, aside from the mess hall, there was a lot of things we were challenging him to do. I mean, remember when we had formation first thing in the morning and at Slavonsky Broad, or no, at Harmon, in the middle, right in the middle of the parade field.
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember why we did that?
Wow.
And those Air Force guys were bitching about it because we were being too loud.
We were playing. So me, Davis, Cubic and whoever was the fourth, we'd play spades every night. Once everything was settled, mission was done for the day, we'd go play spades, and we would talk so much crap in that tent.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys heard me or heard us, but we would talk so much crap. So we were hooping and hollering and jumping off our cots, trumping each other, and all of a sudden somebody comes in PT uniform with a 9mm in their hand, and Davis and I look up, and we both kind of nod our head and we go, "What's up?" And then Cubic realized that it was the camp commander, some 06 or 1-star general. I think it was an 06. And he calls attention. We stand up at attention, and he goes, "You realize this is quiet hours?" And Davis and I we go, "No." First thing we say is, "Nope." And then Cubic, he had to cover for us, and he goes, "Sir, I realize it's quiet hours. We were just being a little loud. Apologize." And the guy just got in Cubic shorts, just gave him this speech. And so we sat down after he left, and we go, "What is he thinking? We're deployed. He can't tell us what to do." So I go, "What are the hours?" Because he left the document of the rules there, and it says quiet hours are from 10 at night or 9 at night till 6 in the morning. And so I look at that and I go, 6 in the morning, you could be as loud as you want. So I said, "Let's call formation at 6:30, get everybody riled up and wake up the whole camp." And so that's why we call that formation in the middle. And remember that the whole extent to the left, everyone was just telling everybody to shout. And then he came out.
Yep.
He came out
Shut
again.
up! Shut up!
He pulled Cubic over. Cubic had that same note in his pocket. And I remember this clearly. He went over, pulled it out of his pocket, showed the camp commander that it said 6 o'clock, folded it up, and saluted him and walked away. But that's just how we rolled, right? I mean, that's how we.
Your problem was you was around a bunch of engineers that didn't know no better. We rubbed off on you. That wasn't what you're supposed to do. But that's good stuff.
No, and once we found out that once we found out that they were bothered about it, it just made us even to be louder. Like then it was just to pure annoy them. And I remember, because what they were doing, flying little drones, not doing shit, just hanging out their little,
But
and that's where the whole thing started.
That's what brought us together, Creek. I mean, early on in this cast, I said it appeared to be undisciplined, right? When I first got to the Deuce coming out of Ranger School, but it was just unfocused. Everyone knew their job. NCOs knew how to be NCOs, right? It was everyone just got a little bit lax because one, you're in Germany, you're doing, cookouts every weekend, drinking German beer and having fun. But it took a deployment and all that hardship, freezing our ass off. Like you said last week, more baggies on your boots. You had to burn your long johns, all that stuff. It took all that hardship, all that hard work for us to come together and realize we were one unit. And that's why this bond that Rod talks about, we can talk to anybody in the Deuce right now and share all these stories and respect each other.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And I will say this, and I'm going to cross two stories at the same time. When you just said that brought us all together, when you talked about the barbecues, here's the thing. We played hard, but we worked harder. That was always the case. Back in the rear, we didn't care what happened because we knew when it happened, we were going to be together when all balls to the wall. And what Rob was saying, and I'm gonna share this, and I'm gonna mute myself again. This podcast is all about is breaking those barriers down and what we went through. Talk about things that we are still going through, about those nightmares that we're still having, and this is a platform for it because we're the only ones who can understand what was happening. And I will tell you this: one of my biggest overcoming pieces was once I left Bosnia and I ended up going to Lindenwood to teach OBC, I wasn't around Charlie's anymore. So that the first time y'all deployed, I was somewhere else because I was with some other people. But y'all were deployed, and I hated the fact that y'all were gone and I wasn't there. And it hurt me to say that somebody may have got hurt. And our connection we knew how to protect each other, and I was a missing link. And I'm gonna close with this. My last deployment, we lost 36 people in 6 months. I'm here in 82nd, and it hurt, but it would have hurt me even more if we were locked into the Charlie unit. It was some of us that I had been known their whole career, if that makes sense. It hurt me really bad that I couldn't save people, but there were no Charlies, and I don't know if I had a sigh of relief or not, but I kind of did. So, and I do know, so to say that on this platform, to say that, and to say what Rob was just saying about being able to talk about nightmares that you're still having, that was one of mine. Because when y'all was getting shot at, and I know I wasn't there to protect some of my people, and I know Matt since I don't know when, I know 40 of them since I don't know when, that hurt me a little bit. So when I left y'all, that was a missing piece in my heart and in my goal. So I understand what you're saying, Rod. This is the platform for that, to get that off your chest. And if we don't have time on the platform, you can always call me, and you and I have been chatting back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation is healing, bro. We laugh about it. You just said something pretty serious about it. John comes in and speaks from a different perspective. Not being an NCO but being an officer, right? But it's a platform where we can all land, find common ground, talk about it, laugh about it. Reflect on it, which is the one thing that I've been doing this whole week since Thursday, right? Given that you guys give me the opportunity, so it helps. It really helps, right? It takes that load off your back. It's like I'm sharing this with other people that, like you said, they understand me. They know where I'm coming from, right? We share certain views and certain feelings. So it does, and that's why I'm gonna do whatever I can do to help you guys to keep this going. Seriously,
you have to.
I see the benefit.
And I said what I said, you're right. And I said what I said because even though it's enlisted, we go through things and we carry that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, that person's death is on somebody like John's back because he has to sign the certificates. We carry that because we couldn't protect them. But when the parents call, they call in John. So it kind of collaborates itself. And I just wanted to make sure that we understood that.
It's a good point. I thought about one thing I thought about, and all this came and we came together, and we have this camaraderie because of all the shared experiences. And to your point, Creekmore, 12 Charlies are going to be 12 Charlies. And I was lucky enough to have that vibe and that leadership style and pick it up from you guys, from the soldiers. Cause I'd be nothing. I wanted to come on here and say, the constant here are the soldiers. It's not the officers, obviously, right? Company commanders, lieutenants, platoon leaders, we come and go, but 12 Charlies, you're the community, right? You're the community that knows each other. You're so damn close knit. Your last 2 sessions, you talked about how you're going to mentor the future, and that's really important, right? And so I wanted to come up on here and and personally thank all the 12 Charlies and all the people, even the maintenance platoon during that time, the headquarters. I've got people written down in the notes here. Chris Kelly, Billy Bob. I don't even know his damn last name. He was the section sergeant in maintenance platoon. That guy.
Oh yeah.
He'll give you the damn shirt off of his back. He's still kind to me to this day, and we didn't know each other super well back then. I remember Stout, Boland, Coleman. I used to talk so much. Sergeant Coleman. I used to talk so much crap to that guy.
Ebony, Otto.
So many people.
Them on there, Ebony and Otto.
Yeah, you need to get. I tried to talk to Chris Kelly, but he's out of country right now. But
he in Costa Rica.
Yeah. If you can keep this going and get some of the support staff, the other platoons here. I mean, but I'm just grateful that I'm connected to you guys and was connected to this company at that point in my life, because I I stayed on for another, I don't know, 5 years after that. Nothing brought the high, nothing brought the high and the camaraderie like the Deuce did. I commanded a company. I tried to do the same things I did with the Deuce. That sort of fell flat on its face. People don't want to see that in a construction company. They don't want that swagger. They just want to do their job. They don't want to do it with the fun and the esprit de corps that the Deuce did it with. So I'm just grateful to be part of
John,
this.
John, let me say this. If the same way that you saw that one, your first platoon sergeant, and said he got to go, the same way we felt about officers and said this lieutenant is not going to make it. So for you to be on the platform tonight and to say that this is what happened, you had to allow us to be us, who we were as Charlies, to make you feel like this is where I need to be, not where the other guy. And not to say that he was a bad leader, but that wasn't what you needed.
Yep,
So to say that, the same way you felt about him, there were lieutenants that didn't make it that we got rid of real quick.
for sure.
They couldn't hack it. So for you to say that and you to make it and still be on this platform, I mean you did something great
I
because
appreciate
you connected, you let us do what we did, but you also got the benefit of that.
that's
Just like before, it's a time and place for everything. Just like got relieved and Captain Cuba came in. You know, the train don't stop because we change leadership, but it was a
yep,
time and place for a different type of leader to take us the rest of the way. You know what I'm saying? Captain Fletcher just came in a bad. I ain't gonna say bad time. It's just bad timing.
yeah. He was on
The
the
flood
he
and
was on the
things
back.
getting.
He was on the back end of his command too. I mean, and he
Yeah,
had a, he had a baby, I think, and it was
yeah,
tough for him. So
yeah.
yeah, those were tough times. I mean, I was looking for guidance from Captain Fancher, and he was being pulled in 20 different directions. So,
Mhm.
we just like the NCOs and the soldiers, you're without leadership. You just go with what you go with, right? And you do the best that you can with what you have. And that's kind of what I did. Is just let's pave our own trail as a platoon and help the other platoon and help the company out because we got that mission. That mission it's not gonna stop. It's got to happen.
And we had a high vis mission, not no just any mission.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
finally realize with you in the forefront for a reason when it comes
yep,
to be 12 Charlie to get everybody to the other side. We
yep,
ran into something like that in Iraq. Now, I know this is not the thing about Iraq, but I know Larry, you remember the brief we got when we had the was it like the last stance where we had to get everybody across the Euphrates, I want to say. We had that briefing that turn in a different direction because uh, third ID pushed forward so quickly. But that mission was a high vis mission. That's why we had most of the different people trying to be in charge of that bridge because that was for the officers that was a good
That was promotion.
The check the block moment.
promotion check of to get
Yeah.
you forward. Things like that, especially for the higher ups anyway.
yeah. Me and Chris Kubik talked about that a lot. The type of officers we've seen and how we've interacted. It gets political, and I got out because I didn't want to be part of the reason why I got out was I didn't want to be part of the politics. I didn't want to make decisions that got people hurt or killed, and that was the only reason. I mean, and I didn't want to be. The other reason is I didn't want to be a yes man and get people
Mhm.
hurt and killed. So,
Yeah.
um, I, the people that make it 20 years on the O side, they've got to sell themselves a little bit, and I didn't want to have
Oh
to
yeah.
do that.
I see it every day. I work in a 4-star command, so
Oof.
I got them all from
Yeah,
one star all the way to 4, and nothing but colonels running around there like yes man. So I really understand that.
yeah,
You
everyone's
know,
star chasing, and to
yeah.
get that far in your career and still feel like you gotta hustle, that's got to be a tough situation. But I'm
Mhm.
not made for that. I feel like I was just made to connect with people and support people. So yeah, I got some more stories. Give me 1 second. I got to grab something.
Yeah. But I tell y'all what though, thinking about Bosnia, that nonstop after we had to get everything done, we never got a break until it was pretty much completed, and we still really didn't get a break. But that kind of prepared my mindset when we went to Iraq, when we driving across that desert, and we get the brief that we just gonna drive 3 hours, and we end up driving 72 hours. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of to brace us up and keep pushing forward. I think that mission down in Bosnia kind of helped my mindset anyway, of mission first type mentality.
I don't think any other mission was as draining as Bosnia. And like I said, I had 6 deployments after that, and nothing was like that ever. Not the demand, even though it was hot, it just wasn't. It wasn't like that. And I think to have 3 companies, because it was 38th, the Deuce, and 586. We came out of Fort Benning. I don't think I ever been around a mission like that was that demanding, that broke a lot of people. It broke a lot of people, and it broke a lot of good people that just couldn't take it after that. So I can see why anybody would get out. But yeah, you're right. That prepared us for anything after that, because I don't think anything was as bad as that mission after we got there.
It let us know. It prepared us to let us know how much we could take. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, you get.
What's our breaking point?
Yeah.
And I think
but
it crossed over into the mission that we had in Iraq. And it prepared us for those moments.
Oh, yeah. Larry, I think you're right, but I want to say this, and John said he went to Ranger School. He finished up. I think we were all prepared for that moment, but we never wanted to have it. I think all of us were prepared for that because we all been cold. We all was in Korea, and where it was freezing, and like somebody said the other night, it was a different type of cold over there.
Wells, yeah.
But we never was trained to live like refugees. We were never trained to live like a third world country amongst ourselves. Not eating, and see, when y'all did that first part of the bridge, we were locked on that train because all of us had was contaminated.
Yeah.
We were contaminated for 2 weeks and couldn't get off the train because we got something, because we were locked on the train for a month, going from Hungary to y'all. So I think we were all trained for the worst and never expected the worst to be that bad. But I think as we came together, we accomplished the mission under all of that. No food, no heat.
Yeah.
My hair started falling out in patches in different places because of whatever we had.
Wow.
They say I couldn't give blood for 10 years. Man, we were messed up.
We had each other.
We wouldn't train for that one.
Hey, Joker's still messed up to this day from that.
To this day.
Hey, I lost my toenails. I still ain't got them back yet.
That
was from tossing like a mug. Staying wet.
I brought this for. Oh shoot! I can't. Let me change this background out. I brought something.
If somebody says nail monstrous right now, I'll probably flip out.
Once we laid that shit out.
I know, right? Those metal plates. Oh my God, Jesus! Why you brought that up, man?
Because we laid them on, they didn't last or nothing. They sucked up under the ground.
Oh God! And then you have to put them in a certain way, and
they were 50 pounds each. Yes, nail monstrous. Yes, right.
I remember that.
Man, I tell you what was the stupidest thing that we had over there was camouflage nets. We got flooded. I made sure all of ours went in that damn river.
Do any of you remember the case of grenades or mines that floated down the river?
So they floated down the river, and that cow blew up.
Yep, I remember that cow.
The cow blew up. Yeah,
I remember
the
that
cow blew up.
It was legs up.
And yeah, exactly. Because that's when it started defrosting a little bit, and the snow started melting. And y'all remember, we had to run Constantina for another mile and a half to the left of where we were, and you would hit the picket in the ground, and you would go straight down because you were in the water, and he would disappear.
Yeah.
You're trying to put pickets on the frozen ice, and you would disappear. We ran Constantina at least 300 meters to the left of the bridge.
I remember that.
Right there when the bridge was blowing up. And that's on the other end was, I think, I can't remember, it was the dudes who opened the bridge that one morning. And they had the bridge open. Yeah, that all the debris out, and the cow came down, the cow blew up. Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. That I remember.
Yeah, there was a cow on the bridge, and that a box of mines or a crate of mines or grenades came down. I turned to whoever it was. It might have been Skelton or somebody, and I go, "What do we do with this?" And he goes, "Just take the pole handle, push it on through, let it go down the river." I mean, we don't want to mess with that, right? So,
EOD.
Hey, John, you ain't stop. Speaking of Parker, you ain't stopping him from going in that damn minefield, messing with them damn mines.
Were you in that Humvee that day?
Yeah, yeah.
That was one of the stories I wanted to tell. We're going back to the railhead, and we're alone, and I think the rest of the platoon was waiting to convoy back because we just dropped off equipment, and me, Parker, 40, somebody else was in the Humvee, and Parker's trying to drive with night vision goggles, and it got bouncy, and we're going, and he's like, I don't see where I'm going, sir. I don't know where I'm going. I'm like, Parker, get on the road. He's like, I don't know where the road is. And so I go, I'm going to get out. And I get out, and we're in the middle of a cornfield. And somebody in the Humvee yells, "We're in a minefield." we're in a minefield. And they started yelling at Parker. It must have been me too. Like, Parker, what's wrong with you? Can't you see with those night vision goggles? And so I had to walk him in a circle to get out of there because we thought we were in a minefield that night. Yeah, Parker was a good one. But I had a picture of the sling load operation, but I can't show it because of my background screen. I'll have to take a picture. I brought down from where I keep it for Wells to show him because you guys talked about it last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's me, Love It, Domino. It looks like Crane, and then somebody else. So it's four. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of us. But
I saw Domino about 4 or 5 years ago. I went to his restaurant in Houston. Could have been probably more, but he was doing good then when I saw him.
Good. How's business for him?
Yeah, he's I think he has like 2 or 3 of those barbecue joints, and he's doing real good.
Good.
Yeah. He work out of a truck. He got done with the actual restaurant. He really prefer to work out of a truck. He works out of a truck though, and he hosts the Houston Texan tailgate. He's like the main cook for Texans tailgate.
Oh, for real? Good for him.
He won a couple of awards for his barbecue.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, he was doing. When I saw him, he was doing real good. He was doing real good.
He caught a lot of flack.
He's doing real good.
When he was getting started, he was catching a lot of flack from people.
Talking about Bosnia, he was that one kid that it'll be cold, but he'll be bundled up like it was like super, super cold. All this stuff on, Mickey Mouse boots, walking around.
Well, he was skinny as all get out.
Like, doctor, you that cold? It's not. Yeah, it's cold. Oh, great guy.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
Remember Ingram? Sergeant Ingram, Andrew from Alabama.
Oh, Dirty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
His wife, when we got back, his wife painted me a picture of the bridge with the boats on it and soldiers walking on it with their vest on. It was pretty cool, man.
That's nice.
Y'all
remember the Birchco Bridge?
Oh yeah.
Yes, we were talking about it last weekend. Yeah.
Who led that build?
O'Rourke. He started off with it.
He started with it
until he got fired.
Then I got tagged in for it.
That's right. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Sergeant Major. That's Sergeant Major from the British Army, the one that.
Yeah.
That Sergeant Major, when we was in Iraq, was the same Sergeant Major that went around with the Baby Johnson. He did the same thing.
Yeah, Baby Johnson.
Yeah, he traveled in Iraq. That's how long he was working those dry span bridges. You know, from Bosnia all the way to when we went to Iraq.
That was another, deuce mentality thing. Did we go there on a site recon? Were you there, Larry? We went on site recon and me and Davis just sort of looked it up and down and said, whoever's building it ain't building it no more. We're doing it. And then we drove back, got the whole company and said, we're driving out tomorrow to build it.
Yeah.
And we just, I think another company was supposed to build it. And we just said, no, we got it. And just did it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow, it was crazy how they just rolled up out there and just pulled them off the bridge site.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're in charge.
Hey, but we made it happen though.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
Was that a 2-company build too though? Didn't we have somebody on the other side, on the far shore?
Yes.
You talking about on the full?
I don't remember who it was, but I know it was 2 companies. Yeah.
You say what, Larry?
On the Birchco Bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was it just the Hungarians helping us?
I thought it was I think it was the Hungarians helping us.
Yeah, it was the Hungarians.
Yeah, because it wasn't another company.
Are you sure?
Man.
Yeah, I think it was just.
I don't think it was a Hungarian.
I remember the Hungarians helping us.
I think it was both. I think it was both of us.
38th?
No,
No. 580.
It was 580. No.
Yeah, because
I think Big L and J-Bo Walker did that because we came together at the end. Because somebody else built the Somebody else built the. I can't even remember what it's called now. We cooked the cables and everything up. The jeez.
You talking about overhead anchors?
Nah, that was down the
road. Overhead anchor pieces. Somebody built that. One of y'all built that in the ground on each side, and I think Larry and Walker was on the other side, on each side of the bridge, and we came together. But I can't remember who dug the overhead anchors piece.
Because they because that we put that over a long bridge.
That was a fixed bridge.
That was a fixed bridge. That was it was called Compact 200 back then, but it was the same thing as
Maybe Johnson. Maybe Johnson.
Yeah.
So that was the one that it was so you know how they have blown the bridge, the original bridge.
Yeah.
So we were building that bridge on top of that to bridge the gap. So that was one of those that we had to launch.
You remember how many panels that was?
And then it had the compact, because maybe Johnson and Acro, they have those metal plates because they can actually put asphalt on top of the bridge. So
I think Albridge and Dawson's on the other side. Albridge and Dawson on the other side of that one.
Yeah.
How many panels?
You remember?
17?
17.
I can't
Yeah.
remember what phase it was.
Anybody
Like two
remember how long
spans.
the
It was two
spans?
spans. Yeah, 17. I think it was 17, not counting the part where the ramp goes on, the decline. Because Vertical was the last thing that we were going to do, right?
Yeah, Larry, you should know this. You built the damn bridge.
Man, I can't remember this.
No, I'm just messing with
The
you.
balls of the wall.
I know we had to put a special ramp on it at the end because we had to jack it up a little bit more because where it was sitting. So the original ramp that we were gonna put on it was too steep. So I know we had to do some kind of stuff to make it longer so the vehicles can drive up on it.
It was
It's just
the
patches
ramp,
here and
and
there, man.
you build up at the end of the ramps and made a little bit longer ramp at the end of it. So we used extra panels at the end.
Yeah. I remember that because man, I can't.
On that bridge
I
before.
put so much of this in the back of my head. Wow.
We only
One more time, Paul.
I said I don't think we ever trained on that bridge at the time. We trained on Bailey a lot.
Yeah.
You know, but we never trained on that bridge per se.
Yeah.
No, that was all field.
No, I think they brought a couple of pieces. They brought a couple of pieces and they put them on display in the motor pool in Germany, but we didn't like touch it. So when we got to Breshko, it wasn't foreign because it's the same thing as Bailey. It's just a civilian version of the Bailey Bridge.
That's all. That's
right?
all.
Yeah,
So
by that time we had a good crane operator. Cause I was in 38 at that time. By that time we had a good crane operator.
You know, we had MGB guys out there. You know, once we had some MGB guys that knew how to. Like I didn't know any. I'm not a fixed guy. Never have. I'm a ribbon all day. Just combining having Cartier out there, having Mad Dog out there. You know, those guys that was used to those. You know, that type of bridge. You know, we made it happen. Like I can't.
Yeah, I think by that time, me, Dawes, and Gordius were I think by that time we were doing the 38 MGB piece, and we got a good crane operator and to help that thing go real smooth. Yeah.
And that's another learning moment.
Like you said, John, the maintenance guys, we can't get anything less than once we started doing those bridging operations like that. Those maintenance guys really played a key role.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because in Iraq, we couldn't even get crane. We had to use a freaking bucket to bring panels up to build in Iraq. You know, you couldn't even get a crane in some of those areas. You just had to put a chain on the arm of the bucket and have jokers lift it up. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's why I'm saying it's you know, I built a couple of maybe Johnsons over in Iraq. You know, and we was doing 2 lanes. Maybe Johnson. So, you know, you build one, they blow that mug up, you got to replace it. But that Bosnia on fixed bridging, really. Dry span. Yeah. I guess I paid attention.
Well, and that's why I say I missed y'all, man, because there was only a couple of engineers there, and they would always airlift us in the sapper package, and we would go and blow stuff up and come back, and it was only 3 of us. So I missed being around y'all once I left there because it got dangerous and I couldn't trust anybody. You know what I mean? Everybody I knew wasn't around me anymore. So yeah, we were doing 3-man drop off on a 60, and so I missed y'all during those times.
Remember that mine boom?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember I almost got Abrish killed taking that off.
Oh, for real?
For real. Yeah. So we had the boats lined up to take the pressure or some of the slack off. Me and Abrish go to the shore, and you know, we're trying to get the clevises off. And there was so much pressure on that cable.
On the far shore.
on the near shore. It was on the
near
the
near shore.
We were on the near shore trying to take the crevices off, but there was so much pressure, from debris and all that, and just from the water, that the cable came flying at us, and it went right over Aber's head and slapped against the tree. It would have took his damn head off.
Man, that's crazy.
And we looked at each other. And I'm sure he shit his pants that day, because the look he gave me and the look I gave him, I probably should. The look I gave him, but we looked at each other and we said, "You realize what just happened? We could have gotten you killed." And so we said, one of the few stories we said we wouldn't really tell anybody. The other one was, I think it was me, Abrish, and somebody else, maybe Skelton, took a boat, and we just jumped on a boat and just started to head towards, I don't know what direction it was, towards Slavonsky Broad, whatever direction that was. And so we just took a boat and rolled out, and we're going as fast as we can on that boat, open it up. And I'm like, let me drive that boat. And you know me, I wasn't an operator. I'll tell everybody I was an operator. I'll tell everybody I put that damn bridge together, but you wouldn't, nobody would allow me on that boat. So they let me operate the boat. I'm going, and we see things on the side, and all of a sudden I look up and I see, the rocks reflecting from
the debris.
Debris.
Finish the story, and I'm gonna tell you who came to get you. Finish the story, and I'm gonna tell you who came to get you.
Nobody came to get us.
Oh,
Are you crazy?
I remember that.
At least I don't remember.
I remember that now.
No.
Oh yeah.
The water, when the bridge was blown up, it was swirling. It was a swirl.
No, not that time. No, this was in the spring when we were doing rotation or something. It was when the weather was warm.
Okay. So you was out there twice.
No, oh yeah, I remember that time. You could tell that story. I don't remember that story, but we kept going. I see a reflection off the rocks, and I see whoever was in front was like, slow down. And I just see the reflection getting brighter and brighter. I put it in neutral, or started to put it in reverse, and all of a sudden you just hear, and we're stuck. It's probably 200 meters in both directions.
Wow.
Towards the shore. And we look at each other, and Abrish gives me that look that every NCO gives an officer, like, you done effed up now. So we're like, what do we do? And so I think Abrish gets out, it's up to his knees, and that's not enough to get out. So we ended up trying to push it. We said, how are we going to swim to the side? We didn't know if there were mines there. We said, how long is the walk back? We went through this for about 20 minutes, and I'm just going, shit, I'm in big trouble here. So we ended up just sort of shimmying the boat backwards and creating enough, the bottom of the boat was pushing the rocks back and forth.
Yeah.
That we were able to reverse out. And so we all looked at each other, and I said, that's on me. Please don't tell anyone about that. So if you ever see Abrish, ask him about those two stories. One about me almost getting him killed, and then the other one me getting the boat stuck in the rocks.
No, he did talk about the boat getting stuck, but he never talked about the cable taking his head off.
To this day,
it was one of those nights we were sitting there and inside the tent talking.
Yeah, he was a damn good NCO.
So, yeah, I remember him talking about that.
If I got him injured, I don't think I would survive from that one.
Him and the Groff called hell over there.
Yeah, he was one of the good ones too. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I worked for the Groff for I think it was my last year in Germany. No, it was at the beginning. Jesus, I don't remember.
John, what year you left Germany?
I left in.
I left 98.
98.
I left in 98.
You know what's so crazy? I left in 96 and came back in 98.
Where'd you go?
I was there for 3. I was trying to extend, and first sergeant kicked me out. First sergeant was like, "Nope, you out of here. You too much of a headache. You gone."
I left Germany, went to Fort Polk, and then 98 came right back to Germany. Matter of fact, I came back. 38 was on their last rotation to Bosnia.
Yeah. Was that 74th from Polk?
Nah, 814.
814. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matter of fact, that's who we went to Iraq with too. Me and Big L.
I remember one of the leadership things I would always do was treat the soldiers that you bring on from other organizations just as well as you treat your soldiers. So I remember, I think it was 586. Was that the bridge next to us? The other ribbon bridge next to us? Yeah, I remember we got some augmentees, 2 or 3 guys from 586 for the day to help us watch the bridge or sit in the boats and help watch the bridge. So remember that the sandwich truck that would sit on the berm?
Yeah.
So every once in a while I take part of the platoon over and buy them sandwiches because I'm like, well, I'm the leader. I make the money supposedly. I'll treat the soldiers, and it's one of those little things that every good leader does, or every leader does. So that day we had the augmentees, and I took the 2 or 3 soldiers and bought them lunch. That night, I think I had everybody in their platoon, come over to my tent, being like, "Hey, can I work with you tomorrow?" Can you fit in the schedule? And I was like, "No, man. Like, you go through your chain of command. I take care of soldiers who are with me, no matter where they're from. But you got to figure that out." But it was funny. It was funny.
So John, I'm gonna tell you this.
Citadel.
Yeah, but I would tell John this, that I was in 586 at that time, and I cannot honestly tell you who were our officer corps at that moment. I really can't. Other than I remember Poole, and I remember our sergeant major at the time, or our first sergeant at the time, who made sergeant major afterwards. I was there, and that's what I was telling Larry. I mean, the last mission that we had, or the last time we had this episode, that the one guy, the little Croatian guy that was going back and get us food, those people are the ones that we remember, like we remember you. But I was in 586, and other than some of the maintenance people, I can't remember a lot of the chain of command. So that says a lot about who you were. That says a lot about who you were. That we remember you like this, and we talk about you like this, and we all uplift you like this because you made an impact.
Part of it, I'd say, is all the crap I talk. But it was all in fun. I mean, I was never trying to.
I didn't say you were good. I didn't say you was good. I just said you still here.
Yeah, I'm never gonna say I was. We were good because of the soldiers and the NCOs. It wasn't me. I was just a.
Yes, sir.
I was just a facilitator. I'm not trying to take credit for that. It's the 40s and the rods that were in my platoon and the Dave Campbells that did. I will never take. When CNN came up to me, or whoever it was, and the camera was in my face, and they said, "We want to interview you," the first thing I said is, "Go talk to the soldiers." I'm not. That's not. I said I don't do the work. These guys, look at these guys freezing their ass off, sitting on a boat or walking around, moving that Snellbahnstrasse. And I remember that on the egress ramps.
Oh yeah.
Trying to keep that.
Hey, you the reason why I'm on YouTube.
What's that?
Well, exactly, 40, and that's why he's on this podcast today, because you was that officer that made a difference and didn't see just you, and you saw us.
Yeah.
And you let us be who we were.
Not about me, and I made it a point to know people as people, and if you know people as people, the bond becomes stronger, and the relationship becomes stronger, and the support, and that's what brings people together, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. No, I was saying I got a YouTube clip from Bosnia when I was in that dry suit. With the village punks. Yep. I found that on, like, I just typed my name in for some reason. Wrong interview. I don't know what they had to do with stress in Bosnia.
Oh yeah.
They put it in there somehow.
Yeah. John, you brought a word that I've been using lately a lot, and it's the facilitator, right? Once you become a manager, a director, and I think that's something that a lot of this new leadership coming up is missing, right? That understanding that you a facilitator, right? Yeah, at the end of the day, you give the orders, you make the big decisions, but when you have a staff that knows what they're doing, right? You got your leaders under you doing their work. You just got to become a facilitator. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's been one of those buzzwords for me lately.
Yeah, and Wells said it last week. I mean, he reminded me when that sling load mission came up. I'm glad he said, I don't remember it, but I'm glad he said that. I gave him the mission and said, "You pick your people." I mean, that's it to a T. If I pick the people, who am I to know, right? I I picked the wrong people for the mission, and then the mission doesn't happen as well as it could, you know. So it's all about facilitating the right people at the right point to make it happen.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
sir.
Yeah.
mission too. That was fun though.
Hey, all right, fellas. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm finna get ready. Shut it down for the night. I gotta go um, kick some butt in the morning at my
All
job
right,
site.
Matt.
But hey,
Appreciate you, bro.
I was 12
Matt, before
Charlie.
you leave,
What's up,
Matt,
man?
before you leave, I got a question for everybody, and I
Uh,
always ask this question. The question is, what is your number?
what's my number?
Yep.
Oh man.
And it's always it was a commercial, it was an ING commercial a long time ago, and I always
Hmm.
ask this question to brothers like us: what's your number?
I
And
don't know,
and
man.
like I told you, well, you gotta have it. If you don't know your number, you're gonna work forever.
Well, I got an out plan right now. So my numbers, I'm gonna say my number is 6 years. That's how I'm looking at it right now. My number is 6 years. My wife,
What's the amount you gotta make? What's the amount you gotta make?
the amount that I gotta make.
Because if you don't have an amount, if you don't have an amount you have to earn every month, you will keep chasing it, bro. Now I'm just saying
Mhm.
that because I, I did a message a couple of weeks ago. You know that in
Mhm.
their 4 states they don't take the dollar bill anymore. They only use this like gold currency. It's a
Mhm.
gold dollar bill or whatever, and that's what the new currency is going to be. And if you don't have a number, not knowing what's going on in this administration, you're going to work forever. And like I
Well.
say, when I retired in 16, Pam had retired in 12, and she hasn't
Mhm.
worked since. And we've
Mhm.
been living off what I was saving because I had a number in mind, and I want to know your number because you getting off and clicking to go to punch somebody else's clock. I don't sit
Yeah.
well with me.
Yeah. Well, so man, y'all know me. I'm the ultimate hustler around here. You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of stuff going on outside of me punching the clock. So, like they say, a dollar. Well, how it go? I
I
forget.
hear you.
You know what I'm saying. So basically,
I do.
I'm using this money that I'm making now. And plus, I can't walk away from it right now. They paying me. I'm getting paid good. My 9 to 5 paying me good. You know
But you
what I'm
got
saying.
somewhere to
So,
go.
mhm. Oh yeah,
Pam and I
yeah. I'm.
volunteer. Pam and I volunteer every morning, and we go because we want to, not because we have to. And we just
Hmm.
got another contract, but we took on another senior center,
Hmm.
and taking on a senior center, one is probably 10 minutes from my 5 minutes from my house. They gave us $100,000 grant, and another place
Hmm.
gave us another $300,000 grant for this, just to go and serve the senior centers. So if we want to go, we can go, and if we don't want to go, we don't have to go because somebody else is there. But the fact of the matter is, if I get up in the morning and say you going to work, I can fly to come see you if I wanted to.
Well, come on.
And but that's what I'm saying. It's different in mentality because, oh, well, only reason I can say that right now, and I'm not going to do that, is
Hmm.
because our oldest Darius is flying from Arizona. He'll be here um,
Well, you
Wednesday,
still
Thursday night,
you
and
still
then we
coming
go up
down
to
in
Liberty
July?
City. I'll be there in July. I'll be in Tampa in July. We're gonna be at the I can't think of the name of it, but the Sigmas are gonna have a conference. We had our conclave there, so I'll be there for a week and a half, and then I'll
Hmm.
be in South Carolina where I will see. We'll spend the weekend with Jackie.
Hmm.
You remember Jackie, don't you? That's
Gladden.
Gladden's wife. So we're gonna spend the weekend up there, and then we're gonna go up there. But our schedule is our schedule. And
Oh,
I
okay.
asked you about your number because as Charlie's, one of the things I learned is that money don't last forever, and if you put it away, you can do what you want to when you want to.
Hey, well,
So
I'm gonna say, okay. So this before I get off, I'm gonna say this, and 40 and Big L can say the same, right? I tell them, so if my number is 1 million, You know what I'm saying? That I'm gonna say my number's $1 million because I tell them every time I get a chance to tell them, if I touch $1 million, we all touch $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it. And like I said, I mean, even doing this podcast, I was listening, but I'm up here getting some of these contracts and stuff right now situated. You know, I got a couple of Microsoft Teams meeting tomorrow, and then I got another one Friday to get some of these city contracts. You know, I got other stuff on the back burner, and like for the last month, when you come down Creek, I'm gonna show you. For the last month, I've met more than I need to meet. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm a general contractor. All right, I'm a licensed.
I see you. I follow you.
I'm a general contractor plus a roofing contractor, right? So, long story short, I done linked up with the people that I need to link. I done linked up with my ex-commissioner through my architect. You know, my architect. So I'm finna be a part of, I won't say gentrification because we trying to.
No. Yep.
Yeah, it's gentrification, right? But we trying to keep it urban. We trying to keep it us. You know, no disrespect for anybody that's not black. But here in Miami, we're getting.
John, they're talking to you.
No, but
here in Miami, we getting pushed back. So a couple of two of our prominent, well-known black neighborhoods or districts, we're trying to keep it. So, but they're trying to modernize it. All right, they're trying to like the old. Y'all ever hear like when a rapper talking about the Poker Bean projects and stuff like that. Or 15th Avenue. You know, 15th Avenue was a pipeline for drugs, pretty much. It was a straight avenue. Every drug dealer had a corner. You know what I'm saying? But now we're trying to renovate that and make it more modernized. And I've been blessed to be probably the general contractor that's going to be responsible for bringing all these buildings up and stuff like that. We got a meeting with the head of the HUD some Thursday. Got a meeting with the head of the HUD. So right now the architect, he's getting all the renderings and all that stuff done to present to him, and it's a lot. Okay, so you recording, Big L? So whatever.
No, it's good. It's good because we need to hear this.
Well, it's no, because I don't want to, you know, it's okay. It's some prominent major
I got you.
figures that's involved in this, you know, that owns property or that's going to be a part of this big project, you know. So like I said, then I met with another veteran. I linked up with him. He's going to allow me to shoot my podcast or shoot whatever. You know, I got another podcast I just haven't rolled out yet, but he's going to let me shoot it in his establishment. So his establishment is called The Fleet. So every Thursday they have karaoke and stuff like that. So we went last Thursday. We also going to he's going to he want me to build a cigar lounge, right? So, and my play on the cigar lounge, I'm gonna tell y'all my vision of the cigar lounge, right? So, I want the outside, I want the cigar lounge to be chews. You know what I'm saying? I want a clearing barrel. I want camouflage nets. I want sandbags and everything on the outside of it to make it look like we down range, right? But then when we go inside, we got the different shops. We got the S shops. So it's gonna be a play. You know, smoke shop, one smoke shop.
I better get an invite to that one.
You come on down. So, you know, it's gonna be an S1, S2, S3, S4. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a nice little DFAT because we have people out there that cook, you know, that can bring their food trucks and things like that. But caveat on that, he's also a veteran. He's in the Navy, from the Navy. He was in the Navy. That's why he called his club the Fleet. All right. So, and he also, his manager and some more people, they bring like in, they bring in like homeless vets to help them get housed and get medical attention, help them get their percentages up, get up to 100% and stuff like that. So it's some, I got some things popping. So I don't, like I said, I got into it with my team yesterday. So I don't know how long I'm gonna be there, because y'all know me, I don't pop off, but when I pop off, is I'm opening up both barrels. You know what I'm saying? So, and the Army came out.
Matt,
Yeah.
I asked you this question because I know you from a long way back, and I'm gonna tell you this: when you said touch a million, I'm gonna tell you, what if I already touched a million?
Well, I'm sure you probably have.
No, but I'm saying that to say this. So when Pam and I we work with these 3 senior centers, so we feed the homeless Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? And then we have a contract with Ashley Furniture's, Food Lion, Walmart, Dollar General, and what's the green one called? Dollar Tree. I can't think of the name, but those. So when we work with the community and feed the homeless every day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we started getting contracts. So I work with St. Andrews, and St. Andrews is the local farmer association from here to Georgia, and we feed the community with stuff that they can't give to the markets. And what they did was they recently just gave us some money, and Pam and I are supposed to go down to Spring Lake here in North Carolina, and they got 40 acres they're gonna assign for us to have. And our goal is to make that center, but have our office there and have 13 stations for computer programming for the kids to go and sit there and do their homework after school. We got the teachers lined up to do the after school program and summer program, but also the Second Harvest here in Fayetteville will feed them through the summer. So when the parents are still at work and the kids are home alone, they're going to feed them. But then the kids have to do their social work or social action, and they have to go feed the seniors while they're doing that. And the program is called They Can't Come to the Market, so we're going to go to them. So every senior center around this area, we're going to stage a market, like you said, the food trucks. Food trucks will go out, the vendors will go out. They'll come out of their rooms to get food or whatever, like they're shopping, and it's already paid for by Pam and I. And they'll go back in thinking they did something. And that's what Pam and I have been doing. And we just locked that in. They're going to give us 40 acres to start this other place. So what you're doing, I'm seeing and I'm watching you. And that's why I asked you what your number is. Because now everything that Pam and I do is what we want to do and not because of anybody else.
I feel, yeah. I'm trying to get to that point. Like I said, I got 6 years to get my construction companies to a point where they're on cruise control. I don't have to be there to like babysit them and stuff like that. So I've been getting some contracts here and there from one of the parks that I know somebody that works there that sends me work. I've been getting a little bit of work here and there from private people and stuff like that. But like I said, this hopefully this big thing it kicks off. And like I said,
I had 2 studio operators in your location, and Larry helped me out with a brother that's here, but I have a couple studio operators is there, and one of my brothers I was basically training with has his company there that could help you with your other 2 podcasts because he does and I'll send you his information later, but we do that.
I think we're friends. I think you send it to me. I think we friends. Okay. So that's one of the things that I want to do too. Like I want to build my own content creating studio. I see they got a couple of them here in Miami, but I want to do that. I want to create my own content creators because I'm a photographer. Like I was just telling Big L, I'm in the doghouse. I just went and brought six 6 racks worth of equipment last night. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, I got a couple of projects coming up. Matter of fact, I got to do 40s, wedding, vow renewal. You
Yep.
know, I got my drone. I have my drone and all that stuff when we go to Mexico. You know, just create memories. You know, so I get a little
Yeah.
bit of work here and there. You know.
No, I like it. But when you talk about gentrification and changing that mindset, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why every so we have an LLC, but we have a 501c3 as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why my
Mm-hmm.
donations come from and do both. But in the process, my oldest son is my brand manager,
Mm-hmm.
so he gets paid. My youngest son is my automation guy, so he gets paid. So long after I'm gone, if this keeps going, we just changed that gentrification piece. It said long time legacy, they would get paid long after I'm gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how I'm trying to think and move forward. And there's a lot of people wanting to help you. So if you move forward in something that you need my help in, let me know.
Hey, I'm gonna reach out and say, oh, okay. Another
Absolutely.
thing, I use my 9 to 5 to learn. I work. I'm a GC, but I work for a
Wait.
GC.
Are we still you still recording, Larry?
Yeah.
Okay, so I
Hey,
ain't gonna say what I'm gonna say. Go
we're
ahead.
going to get y'all going to do this on the side. Let's get this one on the side. Let's get our Bosnia out of the way.
Yeah. He caught me off guard with that question he said, but yeah.
But I'm finna go ahead. Like I said, I gotta get up in the morning. I gotta be there early to open up. But hey, it was nice being on here, listening y'all 12 Charlies talk about. I'm a 12 Charlie, but talk about Bosnia. I wasn't a 12 Charlie when okay, well, I'm finna segue into my little experience in Bosnia, Big L. All right, so I'm original 12 Charlie. Um, I came in, so around about, I think about 93, 94 is when they said, Department of the Army said, there's too many of us, too many 12 Charlies, right? The order came out, you can re-enlist, but you can't re-enlist 12 Charlies. Um, they gave us 2 options. They said 12 Fox or 12 Bravo. So I was like, shoot, I know what them 12 Bravos do. I don't want to do that. I'll be a 12 Fox. You know what I'm saying? So they sent me back to Fort Leonard Wood, did my little reclass. Right after reclass, they shipped me to Germany. First Armored Division, mechanized. So now I'm a 12 Fox. I'm in A&O platoon. I have an ace. So we had the ace, we had the CEVs and all that stuff or whatever. So we got the word we was going to Bosnia. We was in Hornsfeld. Y'all used to go to Graf. We used to go to Hornsfeld. We was in Hornsfeld. They called us into the DFAT. We didn't know what they called us into the DFAT. They called us into the DFAT. We had steak. We had lobster. We had chicken. We had all kind of stuff up in there, right? We in there eating good. They came in there and say,
Cut them off.
huh?
Cut them off.
Cut Matt
Yeah.
off.
What you mean cut me off? Why cut me
I'll
off?
cut them off.
We had MREs and gravy.
No.
Before.
I'm talking about this before. I'm talking about this. We in Hornsfeld. We in Hornsfeld train. We hadn't been in Hornsfeld for like 30 days already. You know what I'm saying? They pull us out the what they used to call it? Not the mission, but we used to go out there and they pulled us out the box. You know what I'm saying? We're like, oh, what's going on? They pulled us out the box. Oh, so we eating chicken, we eating lobster, we eating steak. And they just say, hey, guess what? Y'all finna go to Bosnia. Y'all ain't even finna go back to bomb holder.
Wow.
Y'all ain't even finna go back to bomb holder. Y'all finna go straight from Hornsfeld to the railhead. So, our equipment was already there. You know what I'm saying? So we had to go at the advanced party. We went from Hornsfeld to the railhead. I forgot where the railhead was at or whatever. We had a convoy there. Had a couple of accidents going to the railhead. But anyway, we got everything up on the railhead. I had to get, so the people that was going on the train, we rode the train too. People that was going on the train, some of them rode the bus, but some of us, advanced part, we rode the train. We got to go back got to go back to bomb holding for a little bit, spend time with our family or whatever. Everybody, the whole battalion came back, and then the advanced party, we got on the train. Yeah, we was on that train. It was cold. Boom, 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 boom. We got there. We got ready to go across the bridge. And the only thing I'm gonna say is, like, it was me. I think it was only a couple of us that was 12 Bravos. That was
Wells with you, Matt?
Who?
Wells. It was another Wells that turned. I can't think of his name.
Nah, it was me.
12 Fox 2.
In my battalion, I was in 40th Engineers. We was in bomb holding. I was in 40th Engineers. The only person that I remember that was a 12 Charlie that was in my battalion was Weatherton.
Weatherton, okay.
Yeah, Weatherton. And it might have been a couple more 12 Charlie, but Weatherton was the only one that stands out to me.
I think Rich was there as well.
Rich was there, but he was in Boundsburg. I was in bomb holder. Rich was there as well. Yeah, Rich had to reclassify as well. But I'm saying that to say this: all the 12 Bravos, everybody was scared to go on that bridge. I like, nah, don't worry about it. We good. They were like, I see boats. I don't see nothing to ride on, because the CVs and the tanks and everything. We first armored division. Them M1s going across it. That joker dropped down. All they said, man, that thing riding on water. I was like, we good. Don't worry about it, man. Don't. We good, man. I say, I'm a 12 Charlie. I know that. I know them jokers that's over there. Don't put it together. They don't put it together. You see them cables and them boats ain't gonna let it go nowhere. We go. Just get on it and just listen to what the bridge commander say, and we good. Don't pivot. Don't do nothing. Just keep it going. So, my experience in Bosnia, I was a 12 Bravo, 12 Fox, and 12 Bravo. Now we became 12 Bravos while we was in Bosnia. We had a formation. I remember we had a formation. First song say, hey, all y'all 12 Foxes, raise your hand. We raised our hand. He said, y'all 12 Bravos now. Hey.
You went around the horn, bro.
Yeah, I went around the horn. Yeah, I couldn't afford it, but yeah, baby. All right, baby. But the first opportunity I got to get back to be a 12 Charlie, I came back. Yeah, it wasn't. It was I got it was time for me to re-enlist, and they was giving them 12. They was giving us big bonuses or whatever. And then by the time my window opened up, they stopped giving the bonuses. I was like, man, I ain't re-enlisting, man. Everybody got all that big money. I ain't re-enlist. And then the re-enlistment NCO, he came and he looked at me. He was like, ain't your secondary MOS a 12 Charlie? I was like, yeah. He was like, well, they ain't getting as big as a bonus as the Bravos was getting, but they still getting bonuses or whatever. And he's like, I think all we got to do is just call DA and have them swap your secondary and your primaries back. And then once that happens, you can re-enlist and then you can get the bonus. I said, well, go ahead and do it. I got the notification or whatever. My MOS is flip-flop back. My 12 Bravo was my secondary, 12 Charlie was my primary. Re-enlist, got my bonus, went right down the street to 55th Engineers. I was in Fort Riley then. I was in Fort Riley. Yeah, I was in Raleigh. Went to 55th Engineers. Stayed there for about like 6 months. Came down on orders to come to Korea. That was my second time in Korea. So both times I was in Korea as a 12 Charlie. So that was my second time. That was 92, 93. That's when Wells was there. Who else was there from the old school? One Camel, big head behind there, and I know he was there with me in 90. He was there with us in 92. In 93.
I was leaving in 92. Me.
Yeah, Walker.
Yeah, Walker.
Walker was there. Me, Walker Skelton. We were all leaving in
Yep.
92.
I remember scouting 92. I got there in 92. I got there in
Matter of
February of
fact,
92.
Hemingway and Macklemore was there in 92.
Hemingway was there.
And Daily.
Macklemore.
Daily.
Yep. Daily.
Daily.
Yep. Them old heads was back there then. Yep. Yep. But yeah, man, I was out there. We was out there. Our mission for 12 when I was in Bosnia. We was uncovering those mass grave sites and clearing minefields. Yeah, yeah. That's what we were doing at 12 Bravo, man. I was sitting out there on that bridge. I was out there dodging T-72 tank mines.
Doing that training, man.
Yeah, slide down. I remember it got cold, right? And we had track was mechanized, right? And the track pass was plastic. So we used to get out there and be spinning around, boom, 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 boom. And then we came up with the idea. We was like, hey, just take off every other pad. So now, the tracks, they got the pads, but the second track is like a cleat. Boom. So it was grabbing into that. Let me see. I can say that our CEV team. I was a driver. We did the last mission of the CEV. We shot down a bunker, and I want to say they say that CEV, one of those CEVs that's at Fort Leonard Wood Museum, was the CEV that we had for Bravo Company 40th Engineers. So, like I say, I was a driver of a CEV, and we made history. So, yeah. But anyway, fellas, man, my wife up. I done woke her up. It's time for me. She finna get ready to go to work, and I'm finna get ready to go to bed so I can get up in the morning, man. But it was nice hearing y'all, nice seeing y'all, man. Let's keep this train rolling, man.
Right on, brother. Total line.
All right, total line, man.
John, quick question. What kind of business you have?
I run my own consulting firm now. So I got out of the Army. I worked at a medical device company as a manufacturing manager. Then I went into learning development for that same company. Got sick of, there's a reoccurring theme you'll hear here. Got sick of my leadership, didn't respect them, and decided to roll on out. So I just quit. I probably could have been let go and gotten severance, but I just quit. And then I got picked up by a mentor and a friend of mine who was consulting in the food industry. So I didn't know anything about it aside from process and flow. And so I just used what I did in the Army: process, troop leading procedures, all that stuff that I learned in the Army. I just applied it to rehearsals. I applied it to what I did in the food industry. And then I just learned from, I'd say, what was it, not 2008 until now. And then I got the opportunity to start a consulting firm with my mentor and business partner, and then he retired and I took it over. So I basically consult and help people, like Domino, if he wanted to bring his barbecue into a manufacturing facility and grow his business and help him sell it across the country, I can help him do that. It's somebody's got a recipe or an idea, I can help. It's called commercializing. I help commercialize those products and bring them to markets from an operations side. So I speak.
So
go ahead.
I would say, so Larry, since I don't know we have much time left, I got a 2-part question. I want to ask John, when we got there from Fort Benning, interacting with other lieutenants from different locations, how was that for you? The second part of the question is, coming from Ranger School, dealing with engineers or sappers, how was that for you? And then how was the transition out the military for you?
So the first question, you said when 586 came, what was the second part?
Working 586 coming from Fort Benning, working with those other lieutenants, brand new lieutenants as well. Your first tour and all of that, and then go ahead.
Yeah. So Working with other lieutenants from other bridge companies, non-existent for me. I didn't I didn't really interact with them. I didn't really know them. We'd walk by and see each other, and that was it. We never really talked. I was more concerned with talking to the people who did the work, the NCOs. So if work needed to be done, I always know who to go to. I didn't need to go to the platoon leader. I go to the NCOs to find out what the real deal was. So I was closer to the NCOs from 38th and in 586 and was it 74th? But all the other NCOs from the other
I will
companies.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it wasn't. I don't know. They just like you said before. They just weren't in positions to make change, in my opinion. So I just
Yeah.
again I either went to the platoon sergeant or the squad leader to find out what was going on. And then
And freshly coming from Ranger School, they didn't have the same mentality as you did. So
yeah, so
coming from Ranger School, coming there.
yeah, second question, you think you're bulletproof coming out of Ranger School just because you suffered and you did all that stuff. So I just had that mentality of like everything had to be that way, and obviously it's not that way. You gotta you gotta mold yourself to the situation and the people to get stuff done. So not everyone's gonna think like the Chris Cubics or the John Castillo mentalities and do stupid stuff or do that. You have to have that type of leadership. So I sort of learned like you got to mold your leadership style to fit the people. And I could do a little bit of who I am, right? But it's a two-way street in leading people. So I had to soften up a little bit and not be as, have that mentality that everyone's an infantry person or that every mission is, requires 360-degree security. When you're doing bridging, like, yeah, sure, you think about security, but like in a place like Bosnia, there was a very, very little threat. The threat was probably either unfortunately finding a landmine or something that wasn't there or falling in the water and drowning yourself. So I was more the enemy for me more about uh, people falling in the water or getting pinched or something on the bridge or doing dumb shit, obviously. But that's just what soldiers do. So, if you care for your soldiers and you allow them enough latitude to be free in who they are, then you don't see as much dumb stuff, in my opinion. And that was one of my questions for the enlisted guys is how much how much drinking was going on behind my back that I didn't know about, or what's the dumb stuff that happened that I
Behind your back.
So you
Behind
didn't want
your
to know that.
back? Really?
We're gonna right. We're gonna skip that question. He don't want to know that answer. So then my other question is my
That's
other
they. That's
question
they.
is
I thought
yeah.
I thought
So
let it Big L said we were gonna let it all hang out, and that's why I came. I wanted to
yeah,
hear
we
it.
are. We are. But we don't want to give how stuff was transported in at the time.
Oh,
So my
yeah.
other question to you is
We might be
one
charged
of the
with
things.
war crimes if that gets out.
Yeah. Rob, we not gonna go there. But one of the things that I struggle with, and I wanted to ask you this question, is coming from some of the schools that you went to, like the Ranger School, and being meticulous like you were, it kind of makes you a little OCD. And to go into a place that's not like that, what did they do to you? And then getting out the military, working with civilians who don't think like you do, what was that like for you? Because I know Bosnia did a lot, and those schools did a lot.
Yeah, I would say it's a struggle that I have every day, to be completely honest, with wanting to either do it and just tell people to get out of the way, and that's why I've been successful, to be honest with you, is I still have that a little bit of that mentality of like the mission's got to get done, and I'm the type of person that'll just pick it up, and that's the stuff that gets you noticed in the civilian world too, is like no one's doing anything, this guy's doing it while everyone else is sitting there talking about it. John's doing activity and making stuff happen. And so I've sort of taken that mentality. I mean, honestly, I still do troop leading procedures. I actually talked about rehearsals a bunch today. And remember, we talked about, the bridging operations in the summer when we did rotations and we had to do those sand tables and
Yeah.
rehearse. That I
Right
still
there.
do that. I do that in my job now. We rehearse multiple times. We do talk through, walk through, we'll do full rehearsals. And that's the
Dry
difference.
runs.
That's a differentiator that gets me noticed and gets my business noticed, is because we we have that mentality, and we think like military people, like, what's the worst case that could happen? What's the best case, and what's the likely case that could happen? And again, I care, and people think like, why do you think that way? And I'm just like, if you've seen what I've seen and been through what I've been through, and I mean, I haven't seen it all and done it all, obviously, but the experiences I had in the military, and specifically in Bosnia, you choose to look at the things in the worst case scenario, because you sort of been, like you said, out of all your deployments, you said Bosnia was the worst, if close to the worst, if not the worst. And you think about, what could be the worst situation, and that's how I plan stuff. So yeah. And to get back to your question, my transition from the military was pretty easy. Um, I came back, did my career course or advanced course for being an officer, went to another admin school to be a planning officer, and then I got uh, stationed at Fort Lewis. I got to Fort Lewis, and I went to a construction company, and I was like, oh hell, I don't get to go to a sapper battalion, which helps for officers. It helps your career, obviously. So I got placed in you know, another you know, uh, not 12 Bravo unit. And so then I was like, okay, I'm going to wait for a line unit. And they assigned me a headquarters company for an HSC. And if you know anything about that, that's like 220 people, in your company. That's a big company. And
Yeah.
half of those people, or a third of those people, don't even belong to you, right? It's people, some people outrank you, uh, some master sergeants, So I had a tough time with command, because I took that deuce mentality of being deployed and like, F it, let's get it done. And I tried to be, you know, garish and really out front as a leader in that type of unit. And we didn't deploy, we didn't go to the field all that much. And so how do you do that in garrison, and have that sort of edge? And that's why I was so successful in Bosnia. We didn't have distractors, and it all came out for us.
Yeah.
Like you said, Creek, yeah, we all had it in us. It was just a matter of getting the right leadership in the right spot, and the people to believe that we're all a team. So that was tough. And then after command, I went into an ACRC unit back in, at Fort Lewis, got my master's degree on purpose because I knew I was getting out. And then after like 3.5 years of doing ACRC, being non-deployable, that was during the second Gulf War. I submitted my paperwork, and I remember uh, the battalion commander. I was doing really well, even though I was in an ACRC unit. I was, still getting good OERs, even with combat arms officers in our brigade. But I submitted my paperwork, and I sat down in his office, submitted my paperwork. He looked up and he goes, "F you," and he started laughing. And he's like, "This is a joke, right?" And I'm like, "No, I want to get out." And I said, "This is part of the plan." And he's like, looks like you got whatever number of months. I'm gonna do my best to have you try and pull your paperwork. And damned if he didn't try. Every day he asked me to stay back in. He said, the Army needs leaders like you. And I said,
Yeah.
I'm too burned out, because I worked for, my battalion commander when I was a headquarters company. Was I didn't again, we were different. She had a good career and was successful. She became an 06, and that's great. My brigade commander, same way. We didn't see eye to eye. So I know I'm cut from a different cloth and just different leadership style. And I think it works in different scenarios. In some scenarios it would work, but in the draw of my career, it just didn't work. So I just decided to get out before I had a position where I got people hurt, or I had to make decisions that, indirectly got people hurt.
I asked you that question for a reason. Um, and I don't know how much time we got left, Larry, but there was a portion of my life that I was in blackout drive, and I really thought when I came home my last deployment, we was focused on a lot, and like I was a HAC first sergeant on my last deployment, and I had I was in charge of 260 people. I had the detainee ops. I had the detainee ops. I had the um, the QIF. I had the well, just say I had a lot. I want to go through all of it. I had a lot, and when I came back, I would see the microwave on my on top of my counter over my oven, and my son would put something in the microwave for 45 seconds or a minute, and he would leave 5 seconds flashing, and I thought he was trying to kill me. I really thought he would want to blow me up, and I had to realize that I'm home and no one's trying to blow me up. And it took talking to them, Larry coming to get me a couple of times because I flipped out, to let me know that I'm home and there's no one's trying to kill me anymore. And in that mindset, and I asked you the question because I wanted to know is in your transition, not being around those people, not having this group to talk to, how did you relate to that? Because I I would always say this, and I mean it to the bottom of my heart. I can't understand why my wife stayed with me sometimes, but because she's here, I know it's a blessing. But I wouldn't blame her if she had left. And
Yeah.
if it wasn't for Larry sometimes and her calling him and saying, "Hey, boom, he's blacked out again and he's gone. Go look for him." I don't know if I would still be here. So my transition was a little bit different than yours. And I talked about Rod's situation. So when I said last time that this is therapeutic for me,
Yeah.
when Larry says, "Hey, just call," and I text him and then say, "Hey, I want to be on because this is therapeutic for me." It really is. So when I ask you the question that I asked is for reasons and how do we get through some of this stuff, it's because a lot of us still are dealing with it. Like Rod was just saying, and I would tell Rod, you're not the only one still dealing with it because I still had their problems. And when I had these situations, luckily for me, Big L is 30 minutes away from me or a phone call away. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So to have you as an officer seeing this different side of things, to know that you on this platform with us, to know that you're still not alone means a lot. And I know it has to mean a lot because I don't know how many officer friends that you still have, but you know you have this group.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and I salute you guys for being honest with yourselves and bearing your hearts and your souls to this group. I mean, some of these stories are tough to tell. I feel like I being an officer, I don't put in the work and the mental stress and go through that. It's a different kind of stress, but I feel like I'm not. And I didn't go through other deployments. My only deployment was just Bosnia. It was Bosnia. I don't want to say just Bosnia because that was a lot, but multiple deployments will do that, obviously. And I keep thinking of like my time in ACRC, and was it selfish of me to just to stay at Fort Lewis and get my degree and get out, or should I have gone to try and make my career a little bit longer and deploy to say I've deployed? I I don't I don't know. I mean, one way or another, I feel like it's a shame that I didn't get to deploy to a larger theater of operation and lead. But part of me is like, you don't know what happens, right? And to have to carry like the trauma and the and the situations like you have with the microwave. I mean that's tough, So um, it's much easier. When you ask that question and say what you said, for me in hindsight to say like I didn't have or don't have the stresses you do, um, and don't have those feelings. And I'm actually proud of you
I,
for
wa-
sharing that.
I would say that you do.
Yeah,
I would
good.
say that you do, and this is why I say that we all have that stress, right? And my last deployment, I was speaking to the chaplain one night, and I realized at that moment, not only did I have no one to talk to, he didn't. And he would say he was praying, but he had nobody here to talk to. But we all need somebody here to talk to.
Yeah,
So a chaplain, a senior NCO, and an officer are in the same position. This is your place to be vulnerable to say the things that you probably didn't go through. So as a chaplain, he didn't know that he didn't have to keep secrets from me and he can talk to me because I was relaying and opening my heart to him like I did with Big L. and he can do the same with me because everybody has to talk to somebody. You can say I'm talking to God, but you need somebody here to talk to get
Yep.
it off your chest.
Yep.
So, and as an officer, you were in the place of the chaplain. Your pool was really small on who you can pick to choose from to talk to,
Yeah.
and it might not have been anybody, and you might have to talk to your platoon sergeant, and hopefully that guy you can trust. And
Yeah.
that's where we are right now. So when you say that, and Rod say this, I'm telling you that my last deployment, I would talk to my chaplain, and we would sit there and cry together. I mean, he felt like he didn't have anyone to talk to. And I said, if I'm pouring my heart out to you, I know you're going to go back to your tent and pray, but you got to pour your heart out to me. And if you can do the same and trust us like you did back then, it's going to be great for you as moving forward.
Sure. I agree. Yeah. You
Yeah.
you're
Like I was telling Creedmoor last week that I don't only do it here. I mean, this is new to me, but I have my own group here local. Like Creed was saying that we go, we have a cigar, we have a drink, and this is what we do, right? We talk about these things, right? And we let it out. One of my buddies, a Master Chief, he was having a rough time, and we talked and we put it out there. He ended up getting via help additional than just talking to us, but the talk helps. And I'm a true believer in it, right? You never know when something you say that to you might not be much, but to that person listening, it might be that one thing that either a good laugh or just a good thought, or just to know that he's not in that hole by himself, right? In the foxhole. And it helps. And that's all it is. And I told these guys, keep it positive, keep it true. Like what Creedmoor correct me, he said, it's not about keeping it positive, about keeping it true. And that's what we do, or that's what these gentlemen are trying to do. And I respect them for it. And you know what?
Yeah, I'm
Believe it or
really.
not,
But
John,
do we
you
know each other? Do we?
believe it or not.
40, I
Well, I
mean,
know they say me
40,
this week,
I
right?
know 40. 40 knows me. We know Big L. But how well do we know each other? Because I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't have told Big L anything. As long as I know Big L, I wouldn't have told him anything. My wife called Big L, and they had a relationship where they could talk, and she said, "You need to go get him." So just us talking is one thing, but I know 40 and his family. I know Puka and his family. I know Tony and his family. I know Big L and his family. And if we mess up, our spouses will come into the rescue. And I'm telling you, that night that I was missing, I didn't call Big L for help. My wife called Big L to say, go help him. And that's what happened. And there's a big difference. We got to know each other in our families. Even you have to call the kids because, again, my wife called Big L and said, hey, I hadn't seen him. He don't answer his calls. He's been ghost. Go find him. And Big L got up his car at 2 o'clock in the morning to look for me, not knowing where I am. But the fact of the matter is he did. And she had a place to call.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Just
If I had to go right now and 40 wife called and told Pam we were missing, we're getting on a flight to go find 40, even though it may cost us something to go where he is. That's what Charlie's meant to us.
Oh yeah, for sure. John, you was talking about not or not, being an officer and some of the things that you had to worry about in Bosnia was probably more stressful than you thought it was at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, just even knowing that you got to make sure people come home from these deployments or whatnot. We did like the airlift mission. There's a number of things that could have went wrong. You know, doing those. We didn't really practice airlift missions in the snow. You know, we didn't practice being in below zero water. Weather and things like that. We never, like you said, we had some mishaps. With the cable missing at Harbor's Head, people falling in the water, capsized boats. People not, things like that. So it's a lot of stressors that you had. You just, at the time, we always mission first, because that's drilled in us. But after the fact, when you got to sit down and really realize what, you went through and things that could have happened but didn't happen, but basically. So you've been through a lot more than what you think you've been through. And it takes time to learn these things, after the fact, I've been retired.
I agree.
Going on 11 years
I
now.
agree.
Yeah, to some extent, I think it could be a little repressed that I just choose not to think about that stuff. But I also think that, how we were brought together and how we did it made you guys made my life a lot easier than it could have been or should have been, right? We we did a lot of good stuff under really adverse conditions, and I didn't have a lot of people. I mean, people complained, but it wasn't outright. People were you know pissed off or there were fist fights. At least not that I knew of. We we just had to do it. I mean, you're totally right, 40. Uh, you put people in these conditions and tell them they got to do it. We did it, and the I don't know. I keep now I'm just like it's spinning in my head that I feel stress. I I think it was just a matter of like I've always said this has got to be done, and I didn't worry about the stress too much back then, and I think that's why I'm not as I don't and maybe again it's repressed and I don't feel about it too much about it now, but maybe I'll give it a thought and get back to you guys if I come back and you guys get a call from me. Yeah, I'd appreciate the talk or I got stuff to say, but at this point, I don't know. I mean, I just feel good.
I would say that we're here for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we all appreciate it and respect you for who you are and who you was at the time. But I would say, based on what you said, you do go through things because of how you respond with your civilian counterparts, with your reaction to things. You react like you would with us, and they're civilians.
Yeah.
So you may not know that you're going through those things or think about it, but I think that you are. And I'm glad that you're here because it's beneficial to all of us because how you respond to them and you say, I respond to them like I was still a ranger or a line platoon or Charlie's. That's the regression piece of what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And so how you respond to them is how I responded to thinking my son was trying to blow me up with the microwave.
Yeah. And that's part of a self-awareness that I've been going through, since I got out of the military. It's hard to take it out of you too, right? Like you still have the military mindset and you still do things because that's what you're ingrained with. But that's true. I mean, going through it, I'm trying to have a good amount of, just balance in life, and finding other distractions to relieve stress and different things to do. At whatever I am, 50 years old, 54 years old, I still find lots of stuff to do on my personal time. I still DJ. I don't know if you guys know that. I was a DJ for a while. I DJ'd in one of the big clubs here in Minneapolis a few times, sold it out. I had a really good social network. I found ways to, I don't know if it's completely helped with the regression, but
what was your DJ name?
Flip Style, just like every other Filipino DJ's name. And that was taken from Wu-Tang. So shout out to Love It. When the Wu-Tang Clan where they talk about Tiger Style, I just took Flip and put it on the style because of the Wu-Tang song, and that was my DJ name. So, but I kept thinking of like, man, if we were deployed and there was a club, the Deuce would tear it apart,
Yeah. But you answer all the questions because why are you trying to stay busy?
Oh yeah, sometimes it's to mask what's really happening. Obviously,
I'm gonna tell a story because Big L got me a job when I first got out, and I wasn't mentally ready for it. But every day after work, we would go to the like the little local restaurant we would always meet at, and I found myself. And 40 will tell you we was at Fort Polk. We used to have a couple of days during lunchtime, and I found myself since we had it spending we spent $300-400 every day after work because I couldn't go home. I just wanted to hang out with Larry and talk to people and just sit back and have a couple of shots or whatever and do that. And everything that you just said reminds me of that moment. And when I started changing my life to be where I am today, and I realized there were some days I don't know how we got home. There were some days that I didn't drive my car home and somebody took me home and I had to come back and get my car. But mentally, I was just on that zone because there was nothing to fill the void of everything that we used to do. And when I left y'all, I we jumped every week. I went back to 82nd and we jumped and we jumped and we jumped. And to this day, I'm in a couple of brace. I got medals in my ankle and my knees, but that was just life.
Mm-hmm.
And without the people that we're connected to right now and having these conversations, it would be just suppressed. And I'm just telling you that you don't have to be suppressed or in this fight by yourself as we move forward. Because if I know Big L like I do and 40 like I do, total line is for us to be able to be in a place where we can have a good time and talk about this and not let this weigh us down in our life anymore. Because I was going on a path that I would have either been broke, in jail, or drinking so much that I couldn't function. And I don't do that anymore because I work with the seniors. But I was on a path where I was spending $500 on a night
Yeah.
Oh,
just to get over what I was going through mentally, and I didn't know it.
Oh yeah.
Were you trying to find purpose? And you found your
No,
purpose?
I had the purpose. I had the purpose. I had the purpose, but the demons that I had, the demons that I had, um, overpowered my purpose. I always knew what I needed to do, and I was walking in my purpose, and the money wasn't the thing. And I will share this with you, and I'm gonna give back to Big L. I lost my purpose. Not lost my purpose. I lost my focus on I was when we came after the last deployment, I was in Fort Brigade. It was an STB. I had all those people, and we moved, and they moved all the engineers to a Sapper battalion. And when I got to the Sapper battalion, I took over the HAC, and I was gonna be the sergeant major in that place once Sergeant Major Pena had left. And my first thing was to get orientated with that company or that battalion, and I jumped. And on the right door, and I'm in the left door, and I was jump master, and my supply sergeant jumped out this door. She looked at me, she just penny five, and she gave me the thumbs up, and I jumped out, and I looked out, and she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do as I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at her, and she hadn't moved, and I started trying to pull my risers to slip towards her, and I realized when the wind took her, her head flipped back, and she hit the ground. I can't remember hitting the ground, but I ran over to her and I kind of put her head back to where it's supposed to be, and I put my boots where it's supposed to be to keep her head stable. When I put my stuff on, and I told everybody to get back because I didn't want anybody to see her like that. And whoever would jump in front of her didn't do what they're supposed to do, and almost took her head off. And that was the first time in my whole military career that I felt vulnerable that I couldn't control anything. I don't know, I wasn't as bad as tough as I wanted. All the schools that I went to didn't prepare me for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't function after that. And everything that I was doing that started going downhill. Everything started to bother me. So after that, I told Larry I couldn't do it. So I was still on active duty working with Larry, and they would do a active shooter drill, and I couldn't get down the steps to get out the building because I had to get somebody to come get me because I just couldn't function.
Mm-hmm.
So I started spiraling out of a way that I used to be because that was the first time I felt like I wasn't controlling anything. And I had to talk to her mom. And every year on the anniversary, they come back and I got to talk to the parents. And I just couldn't function with that. So Larry got me that job. He said, "Hey, we having this drill today. Go to your car." And I would go to my car and I would see them come downstairs. And after it's over, I would go back up. But I wasn't part of the drill because I couldn't be in that cluster going down the steps. People trying to use all that mess with me. And I was flipping out. And I wasn't functioning. So when I say that to tell you this, we all went through something. It's just the fact of the matter is who do you have there that you can talk to? Because you shouldn't have to go through this by yourself. And I know that I had, if even though 40 is miles away from me, if I'd have text 40 and said that, I know he would have responded. I know Warren would have responded. I know Larry, I know Dirty, and I know all Lou would have responded. But I don't know if you have that. If that had happened to you, who could you talk to?
Yeah. No.
As an
Well,
officer,
Creed.
who could you have talked to say this and people not to judge you and say you just weak?
So like over here, you guys remember uh Hernandez, right? Danny,
Yep,
Jose Hernandez, probably not.
yep.
He
I know
doesn't
him.
live too far. So I got like
Stonehenge.
3 or 4 torch Charlies. I'm sorry?
Is that Stonehenge
I
Hernandez
think he used to
boxer?
work for you, Larry. Hernandez.
Probably did.
Yes, he used to box. Yeah, that guy. So he doesn't live far from me, right? And so when I got out of the army, I I don't, maybe it's because I didn't do the full 20 or plus. When I got out, I stopped drinking a lot. Like my intake went down, you know, a lot. I went back to school. I had to reinvent myself. So I didn't. I tried to do the Acro maybe Johnson thing, and that didn't work. It wasn't what I wanted to do. And so, and Hernandez got me into the whole IT thing because Hernandez had reclass to uh, to IT within the army. So it was funny because he called me up and he goes, he was in California out there for Irwin. And he calls me up and he goes, "Hey, how things in Texas?" I said, "Oh, I love it." "Okay, see you in 3 days." See you in 3 days. I thought he was just coming to visit. And this fucker shows up at my house with a big old U-Haul and a car attached to the U-Haul. And I'm like, whoa, you know? Okay. I opened my door. They spent 2 nights at my house until they got their stuff together. Said, yeah, we decided to move out here. So back to what Creedmoor was saying, right? You never know when you're gonna need somebody. Somebody's gonna need for you, but you know you always gotta have somebody there to help you.
Yeah.
So my transition was pretty smooth, other than just having to reinvent, what I wanted to do for for a living. That was fine. Everything else, I kind of knew. I met my wife now, so she really brought me back down to earth. She kept me grounded. She was like the reason why I knew I had to put my old habits away and bury those and start new. And
Well,
I
who
appreciate
outside of
that from her.
criminals who outside of criminals have to hide and reinvent themselves? And that's my point. You shouldn't have to do that because if Larry had to come up with this platform, And I know he and I talked for years, and Walker and I talked for years. But outside of this platform, who has to hide behind what they was and what they did other than us? And I don't think it's
I don't.
anybody.
I don't think, and I don't think it was about the hiding. More that I didn't want to do in the civilian world what I did in the military, because I apply a lot of my military minded ways to my jobs, to my roles, right? And it's funny because uh, uh, we gravitate to each other. Like people that don't know me, but for some reason they know that I'm military. Those are the ones that I'm able to link up with first and kind of like establish some kind of rapport with.
But
So
you said you don't drink like you
that
used to,
oozes
and
that oozes out of my body.
I want you to be honest with yourself. You say you don't drink like you used to, right? And this is what I want to say. This most of the Charlies, and y'all asked a question to our officer counterpart here on what was going on downrange. The average 12 Charlie was functioning alcoholics for years. So you say you don't drink like you used to, answered a lot of questions. So we were hiding something. That's my point. We
Hey,
would
Jay.
never get our officer counterpart in trouble because, of course, he didn't know what we were doing behind closed door. That wasn't his position. He wasn't supposed to know. He wasn't supposed to be an officer business, and we were NCO business. But the fact of the matter is, we were functioning because they had beer and alcohol in the vending machines as we grew up.
Absolutely. Hey, gents, for the sake of time, we've been on here for a couple of hours, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up for tonight because we got, this is good information, good stuff that we're talking about, and that's a whole nother segment that we got that I have scheduled that I'm gonna have some professionals come on and talk to us, and help us navigate some of these things that we're going through.
Yeah,
So the exact things that you're talking about right now. But I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. John, Hot Rod, Creek, 40, everybody, appreciate y'all coming out and sharing us your experience, sharing your stories. You know, we look forward. We hope that you find this helpful, and we plan on keeping this thing rolling because
therapeutic.
it's pretty good, from what we've been getting, what I've been getting in my DMs.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, we want to thank you guys for coming out. And how we like to end our session is we just say total line.
Total line.
Total line.
Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for
Thank
having
you,
this,
guys.
Big L.
Total line.
Yeah,
Right
thank
on.
you guys for hosting. I appreciate it.
John, good seeing you again, brother.
Good to see you.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep. Thanks for the
Absolutely.
words of wisdom. Take care.
Big L, appreciate you, bro.
Right on, bro.
All right.
Right on.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Big L.
All right, bro.
I'll holler at you. Hey, I didn't see that joke on like last time I seen it live, but I don't maybe I just couldn't get it pulled up. I didn't see it live like we had it last time for some reason.
I'm wondering if it's gonna jump on there when I